Think of the passion, God love everlasting. Keep the law of the land and book in case you're asking. Moving forward to the learning and it's free. Cause I know that God know the combo. Go with Sister E. Love talk Sister E. God work Sister E. Charity Sister E. Let's talk with Sister E. All different type of information every week. Let me speak. If you subscribe, we going deep. Love talk Sister E. God's work Sister E. Charity Sister E. Let's talk with Sister E.
Hey y'all, yes, it's me. What's going on? Y'all miss me? Did y'all miss me? I missed y'all. What y'all got going on, y'all? I decided to come out because I've been planning to come out anyway because I've been on a hiatus. I just didn't know when. And I decided, so let me go out, and just check on the people, see what's going on, and just have conversation. So of course it's me. How's everybody doing? Give me a 1 if y'all doing good. Give me a 1. There's so much to talk about, Gotta talk about what's going on in Memphis. We gotta talk about this government shutdown. We gotta talk about this whole new bitter men syndrome. I'm just joking, y'all. Y'all, what is going on with the men of Yasharel? I've been noticing, y'all, a few posts from some people of just women are just full of hell, and excuse my language, and we are just the problem. We are just, y'all. Me and my boy Dante went back and forth in a Facebook post. Y'all know I couldn't let that one slide. Y'all pray for me. Y'all know me. Y'all know I'm special. I love him, but I you know me. I'll say that for a later moment. I'm gonna be peaceful for now. Y'all know me. Cause I'm quiet don't mean I'm quiet. I don't know what's going on with this new campaign that women are just hookers and 304s. I've seen folks call women three. I'm like, Lord, what is going on with the saints? I've been gone for a short period, and now some of these women are 304s. What's the 304, y'all? Is that a prostitute? I'll talk about that in a minute. But y'all have been arguing with Dante all day on Facebook. I was at the dentist and didn't have nothing to do. And I said, I have nothing but time right now. I got to get this crown fixed. So I see a post pop up of 41 women having multiple babies with 141 men, which created 192 children. If I do the math on it, yeah, that's a lot of kids. So he was like, women need to keep their legs closed. I'm like, well, the men need to strap up too as well. That's the problem with both parties. If y'all know they 304s, men, don't sleep with them. Don't sleep with them. And don't blame them if you got a bunch of kids by them. If you know they hookers and you sleep with them, then I'm start looking at you sideways. Yeah, this too shall pass. I said the same thing. I've heard it all. I told him, I said, if he got something he want to say, I'll drop the link if he want to talk to me about it, because he says that when you uphold whoredom and let Yasharel know you uphold whoredom. I'm like, how am I upholding whoredom when I say take two? It ain't one person in the bed. It's two people in the bed. And if the woman is 100% at fault, then is she raping him? That's what I said. I was like, this sounds a little rapish, and I doubt if the women are raping him. So if he, yeah, if the man doesn't strap up and he know he's sleeping with the whore of Babylon, that's kind of gross right there. You need to go get yourself checked, but that's called, you know, it being irresponsible. If you know that you're messing with the whore of Babylon and you're not strapping up and then you got a baby by her, it ain't her fault. It ain't my fault. What's going on, Shanti? What's going on? But yeah, if you sleeping with the whore of Babylon. So man, if you're sleeping with a whorish woman, you know, back in y'all day before y'all was Yashriel, y'all had sense enough to strap up. And that's why I told him, I said, yeah, she got a ton of babies, but he know he fooling with the whore of Babylon. So if you're fooling with the whore of Babylon, and I'm saying it nicely, you will, put a little bit of a condom on to protect yourself and make sure you ain't catching the community disease too. And then they probably pass the community disease as well because they're sleeping with multiple women. So whoredom is not just a womanly thing; it's men too as well. That key thing. Why are they messing with women like that unless they 304s? I said you need to change that post from 41 whore Babylons to 182 whore Babylons. That's what I told him. I told him, I said, if you disagree with my point, I'll be live tonight. So come on up. We're not going to argue. We'll be nice. Then next thing you know, Sister E, does the community know that you uphold whores? What? I said, hey, wait a minute. I said both parties are at fault. So saints just getting their feelings when I disagree. But and then here come the men. Where's her husband? She need to be quiet. Nigga, go find your husband. How about that? Instead of this conversation. So crazy work, ain't it? So I'm at peace though, y'all. Drinking me a little juice. But yeah, I just simply just stated the obvious. I said, if 41 women are sleeping with 141 men and create 192 children, and I said, do they know that they're whores? He said, yeah. I said, if they know that they're whores, then why are you sleeping with them? Unless you're a little bit, you know, they a little bit of some whores. Yeah, I don't know, y'all. I'm kind of, I'm getting in the mindset, y'all, since I've had this moment of peace and quiet. I ain't in no conversations. I ain't on no panels. I ain't a part of no groups anymore. I'm just doing Sister E. My life has been so peaceful, y'all. When I tell you for the past couple months, the peace that I have had when you separate from people, and I ain't saying Dante. I ain't really got a problem with Dante. Dante going through something. I ignore him. I just told him he got a problem with me. Just let me know in the chat and I'll drop that link and he can come up and we can talk it out. Cause one thing I'm not is afraid of Candyman because I'm Candy Woman. And I'm far from scared of that. I'm from the 901, so I'm just joking. But with that being said, if he watching, he welcome to come up. Just hit me, tell me, you're in the chat. I drop that link. In fact, let me go and drop it. Let me see. Let me copy this little link. We can have a civil conversation. We can talk about whoredom. I'm like, dude, how am I teaching whoredom? And I'm teaching my daughter how to, be a virtuous young lady. If you know what I'm talking about, keeping herself intact. Not letting these dudes get her ear and mess her up. And she been doing good so far. She been doing good so far. So we're gonna keep it going. We're gonna keep that momentum going. But yeah, Shanti, I've been kind of out of the game intentionally. I've been out of these, Israelite streets intentionally because it's getting kind of muddy. And it's been peaceful. It's been real, peaceful. It's been really like I've been having my downtime. I've been kind of, healing from the loss of my my parents. You know, I lost my dad. Uh, I lost my dad a year and about almost a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. Then right within a year and a half of my dad's death, my mom passed. So if anybody knows me, they know that I'm close with my parents. You know, I was raised with a father that taught young ladies how to be young ladies and not be, you know, out here in these streets. But my dad raised us well. My dad raised two daughters. So with that being said, you know, let me make sure I pin this link. Hold on. If y'all hear my live in the background, so with that being said, you know, let me make y'all, I'm losing my voice. I don't know why I'm losing my voice. Okay, that link is pinned. So Dante, if you watching, come on up. You're welcome to come on up. Come on up, Shanti. Click the link, sis. Anybody that wants to come up, y'all welcome to come up. But yeah, I've been kind of out of the game intentionally, y'all. Cause I just want peace, and that's my overall goal is just peace. And the amount of peace that I've had in the past couple of months, whew, I wouldn't trade that for the world. Here we go. Here goes Shanti. Oh, my computer gonna die. What's going on, Shanti?
What up, sis? I had to come on and let you hear my voice, chop it up with you real quick, make some comments and then ask some questions. But I'm good, sis. How you been?
I'm good. I'm good. Just pulling out of this game and just kind of being quiet to myself. Just reevaluating life and how I operate, in the community. How I operate just overall. It's not just within the community, but just overall, just trying to find my new normal. And you know what? I
Yeah,
look at it like this: the death of my parents kind of made me reassess what's important to me.
yeah,
And one thing my parents always taught me was be yourself. Don't be moved by the crowd. Be the mover of the crowd. My mom
yeah,
always taught me that. My mom says, "Don't." My dad and my mom, definitely my daddy, they always taught me that. And because I'm like that, that's why I do what I do. That's why I kind of been, by myself. I don't mind calling people out either. I call out, if you need correction and open, rebuke, because I would expect the same. If I need to be openly rebuked,
yeah,
hey, let's deal with it. But I'm the type that if you do openly rebuke me, hey, let's sit down and have a conversation. Now there are some that I won't indulge because it leads to, foolishness. There's some people I'm not finna indulge with the foolishness. But if I have a rapport with you and we're good and I feel like me and you need to have a conversation, we do. But I mean, I've just been kind of quiet. So
yeah.
peacefully quiet. Not quiet because I'm quiet because that peace is important to me. But what's
Right.
going on with this?
I'm glad to hear your story about you actually getting into the peace, the wholeness that actually has you feeling some sort of solace, and you're good with that. It sounds like a little bit of what I've been doing. I know, like, you've been out the way. I really been out the way. I've taken myself out of the community altogether. Like, I still talk to certain people like yourself. That's why I wanted to come up and talk to you. But like, I actually I don't know. Well, I'll just say I actually started my conversion. Um, I still believe in Yeshua. So the conversion, the community I'm a part of, still believe in Yeshua as Messiah. It is Orthodox Judaism. So
Okay.
I started my conversion. So I've taken myself out of the community. I've been kind of quiet. People have asked, what's going on with me. They just see me and my husband doing our business that we started, was Works Media, with
Okay.
the podcast and the videography stuff. So, and tonight starts the first night of Feast of Tabernacles, Sukkot. So into that. But yeah, I definitely taken myself out of the community. I've been out of the way, and I haven't wanted to be a part of the community because of what you just said. Like people still with certain dogma doctrine, it seems like it's not even logical sense, the type of teachings people teach and believe and stuff, you know. So I've totally removed myself. However, I still maintain, like you said, relationship and rapport with certain people, like yourself. I even, you know, had to distance myself from certain people because of certain things, like anything out of decency. If you're not operating in decency and in order, no matter what religion you got going on, I have to make sure I exit stage left.
Yep.
So I did want to ask you though, like I came in a little bit late to this conversation that you got going on. So you want to know, are you saying you want to have a conversation, or you want to try to have a civil conversation with certain brothers of your Israelite community as to why they're teaching it's okay for daughters to indulge in whoredom, or is and if it's okay for their sons to indulge in whoredom? Like what's going
I,
on? Like
I think the
let me
thing
know.
is, I think with the conversation I had this morning and this afternoon, it's not just that, it's just a multitude of things I've noticed on
Okay.
YouTube. And the conversation today kind of made me just say it's a bigger problem. The problem is everybody wants to hold women accountable, and don't want to hold both parties accountable. For every
Okay.
baby mama, there's a baby daddy.
Of course.
For every pregnant woman with 5 kids, there are 3 to 5 baby daddies.
Oh, uh-huh.
For every baby mama that is messing with a man that
Uh-huh.
has five baby mamas, you knew about those baby mamas before you walked in.
Uh-huh.
So we walk into these conversations with a lack of understanding, and I think a level of maturity. And I think some people talk out of hurt, that they don't realize that both parties, I'm not saying that it's all men, nor am I saying that it's all women.
Uh-huh.
Accountabilities are on both sides of the aisle.
Yeah.
And you have to be accountable for your actions. If let's say that somebody sleeps with a woman and this woman has a baby, and you find out you don't like this woman, or this man doesn't like this woman, one question I'm gonna ask you is, why don't you have on a condom first? You're not supposed to be having sex anyway. You're not married. You're not married. You're not married. You don't need to be having sex. But if you know that you don't have no self-control, and you know you can't control yourself and not say no, strap up. Regardless of the fact that she may not want you to. She may say, no, I don't want it. Well, you know what? If she don't want you to put that condom on, get up and
Uh-huh.
go and
Uh-huh.
leave and exit the situation. Don't continue on with your endeavors and then be upset that you end up having a baby by this crazy girl. Or better yet, vice versa, a woman. If you tell this
Yeah.
man to
Yeah.
strap up, and you still sleep with him, and then
Mm-hmm.
you have the baby, and he crazy and dysfunctional, you brought that dysfunction on yourself. The thing is, if
Uh-huh.
you cannot control your lust and your temptations,
Uh-huh.
at least strap up so you don't bring any small children into this foolishness and chaos.
I mean, sis, real quick, that sounds too much like right. It sounds too much like asking a human being to be a human being and an attempt to do some things that make sense. Like sis, you have a certain emotional intelligence as a human being.
Yep.
Certain other people may not. And,
Yep.
and get this, with the advent of the internet, with the advent of social media on the internet, and social media understanding, it plays to the shock value of human beings. So we're more, if somebody brings a shock story or some sort of dramatic story to the internet to people, we're more prone to go click that and view that, and we want to actually engage in the mess. We want to actually know more about it. I think a lot of times people bring these stories because it'll continue a conversation, right? It'll get a conversation going, it'll continue a conversation, right? And on social media, especially for people who are monetized and making money off of it, sis, those things are going to get viewed a little bit more, and they're going to get viewed a little bit longer. It's the game. And what we have done as a people is we've learned to capitalize off of what drives our dopamine hit. We've learned to capitalize off putting out what drives our dopamine hit, sis. So that's like asking somebody why they being a human being, because all human beings are capable of doing all these egregious things. We know a lot of times they don't make sense, but we're going to keep doing them, or we're going to, even if we don't do them, right? Who's to say somebody's not bringing on a story online and making it up? Because you're going to be like, oh my God, this is crazy. Let me go find out more. And why would they do such thing? Or why are they acting this way? Or why are they behaving this way? We're going to view those things just a little bit more. So I just want you to remember, a lot of this stuff is for the capitalization of human beings, right? We know we know what people lust after, right? We know what people lust after, which is a good shock value soap opera story, right? And we're gonna put it out. We're gonna put out the truth of a story, or we're gonna put out a fable of a story, right? But the thing is to get people to view it, and it brings us money. Think about it that way. A lot of people just, this whole accountability thing, it's the conversation really online. It's really a conversation during social media. When I find myself out in the world, like outside of online, when I find myself going to work, to the office, when I find myself going to do videography for clients, whether it's recording their podcast, whether it's recording their football game, or whether it's recording their certain special event or whatever, or when I'm out kicking it with my homies playing spades and dominoes, or when I'm out kicking it with my homies or people just having food, having fun, you know what I mean, having a drink or two. We're not talking about this stuff. We're actually having fun. We're actually living life. We're actually planning on things to further make sure we live life in abundance and comfortable. We're not talking about accountability, because we're actually making sure we get our responsibilities in, which is go to work, make the money to sustain us, food, clothing, and shelter. So I'll wrap this up by saying, sis, sometimes people just come online. You take it with a grain of salt. I take it as entertainment, girl, and I get a kiki, and I get a giggle, and I get a laugh, and I just exit stage left. But that's it, Sister E.
Yeah. Somebody, I had to say something because my boy, he kept trying to insinuate that you must condone whoredom. You must be so many words. I said, "Are you calling me a whore?" I sat there and I said, "Hold on." I don't think he was. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. I don't think he was calling me that. I hope he's not. But what I will say is this: I don't condone sex outside of marriage. Let me clarify that for the back room, just in case Saints out here saying. So Sister E pushing sex before marriage. I'm not. I don't push people having kids outside of marriage. But I'm not going to have a blind eye to the fact that there are some people with kids and they have situations where it may be a father involved that they never were married to. It's quite a few women that I know that are in that situation. Are they hoes? No. Now I know some hoes out here that ain't got one child. Man, let me say that again. I know whorish women and whorish men that don't have no children. But with that being said, that's neither here nor there. What I will say is when people make those type of decisions, they're both consenting adults. When the man lays down with a woman that he's not married to, and he decides not to put any form of protection on, and the woman consents to him doing that, guess what? If a child comes out of it, or maybe he's number 4 of the baby daddy list, or maybe she's number 5 of the baby mama list, both parties knew the situation. And when y'all said, okay, I'm fine with it, both parties consented. When they had the baby, both parties are held accountable. So that's why I said accountability is not a one-sided view. And I've heard people, heard Dante say, in fact, well, that's her body. She's 100% accountable. Or it was, let me not misquote what was said, because I don't want people to say I've misquoted them. Let's see. Hold on. Because I'm gonna make sure I quote this correctly. And only doing this because I just don't like one-sided conversations. Let's be honest. So the woman has 100% final say on who is allowed in her vagina and where the baby comes out of her vagina. So that's one of the comments. Yes, she makes the decision, but yet and still, the man still has the right to say, "Wait, no, that's not what I want." Mm-mm. Let me go ahead and put some on there. So yet and still, when you consent to that, that's no longer 100%. Both of y'all are held accountable of whatever the outcome is. Does that make sense? I got men up here. Does that make sense?
So I have a question because I'm a little bit confused. Are you saying that people in the faith are moving like this, or are we just talking about black people in general?
We're just talking about black people in general in conversation.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's what people gonna do. What people gonna do, but I think what you're saying and what the person you're quoting saying, you're both for right. I don't think it's an either or, right? Especially if we're talking about rights, right? Like in America, paternity rights is solely on the women, right? So from a man's perspective, your body, your choice. So at the end of the day, you have final say on what goes in and what goes out, and you have the final say, right?
Yeah,
So
that's in any situation. That's if you're strapping up or if you're not strapping up.
Please allow me to finish. But since you have final say, then you have more of the responsibility. Just like the person in charge has the majority of the responsibility. Now, what you're saying is also correct, right? One, wait to marriage is the proper thing to do. Number two, if both of you consent to unprotected sex, then you're both responsible. Both
and
of you are correct and accountable. Fine. Yes, both of you are correct. But in America, since the woman has more authority, she's going to have the responsibility is going to be more on her. Also,
hold on one second. Pause right there. Pause right there. So let's not go through this. Take a little notepad and write it down. So I have the 100% decision when it comes to my body, far as any form of anything I want to do, far as once the baby enters my body, whatever transpires with my body. Everybody has 100% ownership of their body. Hot sauce, you have 100%, just like I have 100%. It's not a gender thing.
It is a gender thing.
Huh?
It is a gender thing.
How is that a gender thing? You don't have 100% ownership of your body?
Because let's say
hold on one second. So what you're saying is you don't have 100% ownership of your body?
No. You please allow me to explain.
Okay.
Once the child is in your body, I have no say so what transpires with part of my DNA because it's in your body.
Yes, yeah.
Right. So that's where the authority is.
Though. That's
where the authority is.
The authority, yes. Once the baby enters my body, yes, that's right. My body. But we're talking about before the baby enters the body.
But I agreed with you. I agreed with you there.
When you're sleeping together and you say, I do not want to put a condom on, or better yet, I want to put a condom on.
Right.
And if both of y'all get in this bed and whatever consent that y'all have or an agreement y'all have, that's agreement between both parties, right?
We do not disagree. I agree to that part.
Okay.
Right. But what I'm saying is because from a male perspective, so you say you don't want the baby. I say I do want the baby. It don't matter what I want. It's your body, your choice. Yeah. The baby is gone.
I mean, I'm not an advocate of abortion. So
I'm not. We're hypotheticals, right? We're doing hypotheticals, right? Yeah. Okay. Or boy tells woman, or man tells woman that he wants the child. Woman says no. That's that.
But we're talking about before, and it goes back to.
But my point is what I'm trying to highlight to you is that because women have that additional power, men are always going to see that at the end of the day, you have a little bit more accountability than what the man does because you have that additional power.
Hold on, I'm confused. We're talking about before the baby enters you.
No, we agree with you there,
Okay,
but I'm
so
just saying overall, the whole
I
situation.
understand that, but I don't want you to muddy the water. What I'm saying is, in the bed, when a man and a woman get ready to do something they ain't got no business doing because they're not married,
right?
But you get in there, you know this woman has a track record. Of one, let's say it's the woman's side. And I know this man knows this woman has a track record of being, round the way girl.
Right. And she has multiple kids. Oh, then it's my fault. It's not even her fault. It's my fault.
Correct. When you lay down with her, her mind already in
it's my fault.
She's gonna do some whore stuff.
It's my fault. If I don't have a kid and she has multiple kids and I sleep with her, she has a kid, it's 100% my fault. But if I have a bunch of kids and she has no kids and she sleeps with me,
correct.
It's also 100% her fault.
You know what? I don't even want to say 100% nobody's fault.
No. It's 100% my fault because
I know better.
See it.
I know better. Yes.
Yeah, I see it. And so if I'm coming to you and I got kids by multiple women and you want to date me, that's on you. Just like if I'm going to date a woman who has multiple kids by multiple men and then I get on child support, she can't let me see the kid because she's angry because I moved on. That is all me because I saw it before I saw it.
And the thing is, I'm going to tell you something. I get so tired of men saying a woman with a bunch of babies. As a woman that's been in this dating scene and been married and seen it, I've met multiple men with a bunch of baby mamas. I have a rule of thumb. I don't mind dating men with children because I have dated men with children before. But dating a man with a bunch of baby mamas, that shows reckless behavior.
Absolutely. If you date in Future, you're going to end up like Future's past.
Correct. So because I'm going first conversation, when you meet somebody, and y'all jump in, Shanti and Eric, if y'all want to. When you first meet somebody, and, you give your number, hey, how you doing? When you had a phone conversation, y'all talk about each other, tell me about yourself. One of the things going to come up in that first conversation, do you have any kids? Mm-hmm. Yes. How many? Oh, okay. I have, a man can say I have 4 kids. Oh, right. Okay. My next question is, so, is it all by the same woman? Question.
It should be click.
Yeah. Is it all by the same woman? Oh, no. Really? I have 3 baby mamas.
Sister E, I want to hear Eric. I want to hear Eric's point of view, but I have a point of view because I'm actually married, been with my husband for 19 years, married for 9 years. We have no children together. We have a stepchild. I have a stepchild. And he had the daughter, but I definitely want to hear from Eric. I'll relinquish my time to hear from Brother Eric.
Okay, let me finish this one part and I'm gonna let Eric hop in. But when I hear, I got 4 kids, but 3 baby mamas. That right there lets me know, whoa. Let me pull back because that ain't what I want to deal with. Because that shows somewhat of reckless behavior. Now, if you say that I made mistakes in my past, these relationships I had, then I might kind of say okay to it. But I mean, come on now. You're going to ask these key questions and that's vice versa. So Eric, what do you got to say?
Shalom, Sister E. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Good to hear from you. Where you been?
I've been chilling, taking a vacation, enjoying life. Just taking some time. I haven't I've taken a hiatus from even work. I just been just chilling. And I think I've been in my quiet space. But I'm finna go back to work soon. So
it's
back to the work grind. So what's going on?
And you have my condolences. I lost my mom earlier this year too, so I feel your pain. And anyway, to the subject you guys are talking about, I don't know anything about the situation going on. So I don't want to speak to that. I'd rather just hear some more before I give a comment. But in general, it's a man and woman situation. I agree with both what you said and what Hot Sauce said. If you go into a situation knowing that he or she has multiple kids or multiple women, and you put yourself in that situation, you can't complain afterwards. You just have to handle
That's
your
facts.
responsibility behind, especially if a child comes out of that union. It ain't the child's fault. But outside of that, I don't want to make any other comment until I understand exactly what happened. Or
I know ain't nothing happened. It's just I decided to have a conversation about this. Actually, I was going to talk about some other stuff too as well, but I just said I want to talk about it because it was just something. It ain't nothing big. Some conversations with me and Mr. Dante Fortson had on Facebook, going back and forth on women that 41. I think it was a video that said 41. Where's the video? Let me find it. Because I haven't really watched the video. I watched some of it and I said, oh my gosh, it's just another moment in time for them to say the woman has done something. I'd be like, y'all, please leave these men alone. Quit with this foolishness. Hold on.
But he's not wrong,
excuse my
he's not
manners.
wrong.
Blessings to the chat and blessings to the panel. Love you guys.
Salute to you, brother. Salute to you.
Shalom.
Blessings, Hot Sauce. Blessings, Eric.
Blessings to you. Blessings to everyone. I've been rude to you.
Blessings, Shanti. How are you?
Apologies. Yeah. Bless and shalom to everyone.
Let me find the video. So the conversation centered around welfare, and everybody been talking about welfare mamas. Let's just talk about that. But again, the biggest demographic of welfare cases are not Black women.
It's white women.
Correct. But let me find the video. We can play it really quick. What account is this under? Let me save the video so I can play it. Give me a second because it's not showing up. Bear with me, y'all. My daughter and them are loud, so I apologize, y'all.
And another thing, while she's looking for that, how do y'all guys feel about this UFO stuff that's going on right now? If anybody been paying attention about that,
you're talking about the angels,
the three AI, whatever.
Whether they're the good guys or the bad guys.
Well, I mean, just in general, like the thing that's like 12 miles long that's in the solar system.
Oh, I think they say something's coming. I think somebody's coming. Now, whether it's the fallen or whether it's the holy, we're gonna see. But absolutely, somebody's on the way. That's my take.
Hey, I don't want to get y'all business too much while Sister E looking, but Eric and Hot Sauce, are you brothers married or currently in a relationship? I'm sorry?
Yes, I'm married.
Yeah, no
34
kids,
years
no
I'm
kids.
married.
No kids, but yeah.
So Eric, you're married, no children?
I have 3 children. I've been married.
Okay, Eric has 3. Okay, and you're currently married?
Yeah. But I'm but no kids.
Eric's currently married with 3 children, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Hot Sauce, you said
No kids.
no kids, but you're currently married.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm one kid and divorced. So
okay. Yeah. I think that has some volume and some weight too. When people talk, like if people are married, like currently in a relationship and everything like that, we could talk about the communication, because since the three of us here are married, we probably understand that we've had these conversations with our current spouse, before we get into other before we get into a relationship or before we go any further. So I think that has some merit to it as well, Sister E. But you know, all this
But-
accountability stuff is crazy. Like everybody got to be accountable and responsible and take ownership for what they participate in. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
But for
And my
example,
thing is this. Let me emphasize the culture of the whole thing of women, and let me emphasize this: women having multiple children and not being mindful of their bodies and being a virtuous woman. I don't uphold whoredom. And let me emphasize, I do not uphold whoredom. And I had to explain that in the conversation. I'm raising a daughter of my own. Raising a daughter. She's not 12, she's 23. And in the raising of her, one thing I did teach her is you have to be a virtuous woman and be a godly woman. You have to maintain your virtue. You have to, and you know what I'm talking about when I say that. You have to maintain that because you can't let multiple men in and out of you and having all these kids and all that drama. And she actually sees other people that she knows that are going through drama as well and all the foolishness on both sides. So she don't want to be involved in that. Her mindset is school, working, and doing her thing, so she's not involved in foolishness. But it starts at home because a woman only sees what her mother does. And this is what I teach women when I come across young women with children and I have these conversations. Your daughter mimics you. Whatever you do in front of her, she's gonna mimic you in most cases. So I knew that walking in the door when I was raising a little girl by myself, keep in mind that my daughter is only going to be what I am in front of her. So with that, I always make sure that I was mindful that she did not grow up in a house where she saw men coming in and out of my house. She didn't see that. She didn't see mama with a new boyfriend every other week. She didn't see mama waking up in the middle of the night and she waking up and coming in my room and there's a dude in my bed. She never saw that. My daughter never saw a man spend a night. Have you lost your mind? I have a daughter, and I'm not gonna sit here and make it seem like I was just, I had a boyfriend. I dated somebody and dated him for a good little minute, but there was an understanding. I have a daughter. And we're going to respect those boundaries. And this is before Yasharel and, being saved and, truly walking for the Lord. Because since I've been walking with him, I've walked in, I want to say celibacy for almost 5.5 years. Because I understand what that walk means. And how
Sister E, real quick, not to interrupt you, I apologize. I'm going to get out of here. My husband calling. I'm finna go have some fun with my husband. All right. So nice talking to you, Sister E. We got to chop it up on the back end.
All right. But with that being said, good talking to you, Shanti. But with that being said, anything that I did, I made sure that I was that what she saw was what I wanted her to be. So with that being said, I don't uphold whoredom. I don't uphold women having a bunch of children with 5,000 baby daddies. But I say on the other end of that conversation, women that have this behavior with 5 baby daddies, where the 5 baby daddies at? Has anybody had conversations with them? All of them are innocent bystanders. That when they walked in that house and they saw this girl and saw 3 or 4 kids running around the house, why would you go into a house, sleep with a woman unprotected, knowing that she has traits about herself that can ultimately hurt you? You went in with your eyes wide open. You knew what you was walking into.
But Sister E, respectfully, at the end of the day, the guys they're the same people. Birds of a feather flock together. They're the same people. He's gonna have 4 or 5 baby daddies because, like, at the end of the day, right? There's very few men that have multiple baby daddies, right? Most black men don't have kids. Actually, most black men don't have kids, right? So they're just the same people, right? The women who are sleeping with these men are sharing the men, and the men sleeping with these women are sharing the women. They're the same people.
Yeah, you're right. Because interesting enough, I saw the person I actually dated, and I was with him for a minute. And again, people like, why didn't you marry him? Because he had other things going on. But my husband had 0 kids when I was married to him. My child are both of our first kid and only kid, because I don't think he had any more kids either. I don't think. So we
you were
birthed.
childless, he was childless, right?
Huh?
You were childless when you met him, and he was childless.
Correct. Yeah. Both of us were
Yeah,
childless.
so yeah, you match, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, and with that being said, anybody I dated, they didn't have a ton of kids, and some of them didn't have any kids at all. But with that being said, that's what I'm saying. You're putting the whore on her, and the rest of these women. Where's the whorish man at? Because rest assured, I said that if she got 5, he probably got 5 as well.
Absolutely.
So I'm
Absolutely.
gonna play some of this. Anybody want to say something before I play this? I'm gonna be quiet.
Well, hey, Sister E. Shalom, everybody that's on the channel. I did want to jump in really quickly, and I actually wanted to take it back to the original question, but I also wanted to also say that in the Black community or our community, you also stated that coming from somebody who's in this awakening state in this, right? So, and just being in this awakening and how they are coming at the women, right? And they're calling us hoes, and they're calling us, what you say, 304s or whatever the case may be, which can't be nothing good. I mean, I don't really know what the term means, but when you hear it, it's in the context of something that's similar to a hoe.
It means when you write the number 304, turn it upside down, it spells the word. It spells the word hoe.
Right.
That's why I say 304.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm right. So when you say it, it's in the context of being a hoe, right? So when you originally stated this, you were saying it was coming from somebody who was the part of this awakening. So just to go back to that part is, I do think, and I am a part of this awakening, I do think that I have witnessed that myself. I witnessed that inside this community, the women get bashed a lot.
Yeah, they
do. The men do not take accountability for any of the actions of it. And so I wanted to come back on here, not to disregard anything anybody else is saying, but as a whole, both parties are responsible. Absolutely. We know that, right? In this awakening, right? It's sad to see that the men, not all, so I don't want anybody to misunderstand what I'm saying, but I do see where they bash the women a lot and don't take any responsibility, any accountability. So I wanted to come up here and make this point that we all should take accountability for the actions that we have. But more so, if you are the man and you are the head, you are not the tail, you are the head. You are over the woman, even if it's not your woman, even if it's just a woman in the community. At some point, you have to look at the head and say, you know what? You have to take the blame for something. Because
Pause.
Can I just say something? I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No. You got it. Because I want to make something.
Let her finish.
Well,
really quick.
I didn't say that nobody was to blame. I said at some point, as the head, you have to take responsibility of being the head. You have to. You can't always just pass the buck on to somebody else and not take any responsibility.
Correct.
So I want to say that I get offended when people say it's just in the Black community. This goes on in every community.
No, it does. It does.
It goes on in every community.
We're talking about this community and what someone says in reference to our community. That's why we're talking about this. We're not saying it doesn't happen in every community.
I understand, but I just want to make it clear, because if you look at Elon Musk, how many baby mamas he had, but nobody make us think about what he,
he's a billionaire.
The other community.
Yeah.
So I just want to put that on the record. That's all.
Yeah, we know that they do it all the time. Jimmy said at the very beginning, one of the top demographics that get food stamps is not black people, Black women. It's white women that get majority of which get SNAP. Honestly,
I wanna say something. So she mentioned that like we're the head of all, but no, Black, you're the head of your household. Right, I'm the head of my wife. I'm responsible for my woman. I'm not responsible for you. I've never met you. I'm not responsible for what.
No, I don't think she said
that's not what I said. I'm saying I'm making a general statement.
Let her finish. Let her finish what she said.
No, I didn't say that you have to be the head of me. I'm making a general statement as in this awakening. What I said is when she got on, she was talking about how in this awakening, that we are being bashed and calling hoes and being called 304s. However, they don't take any accountability for the part that men play in this as well. So what I'm saying, and I'm not saying that you have to be over every woman, what I'm saying as a generalization is that at some point men in general have to start also taking accountability for some of these things that are going on within our community and within these relationships. You can't always just say it's the women, it's the women, it's the women. At what point do you as the head take responsibility? That's what I'm saying. So I'm not saying that you as a man has to be responsible for every woman out there. I'm making a general broad conversation of generalization, saying that if you are a man and you are the head, at some point you have to take accountability if something is lacking.
So let me, because maybe I'm misunderstanding, because if you're saying that you're the man and you're the head of your household or head of the community,
you can pick either one, because either way you're the head. You are the head of the household.
Let me explain what she's saying. Let me break it down. So what she's saying is this. And I will admit it. When coming into the community as a woman, and not necessarily people are calling us 304s, because I wouldn't consider, my little love to be a 304. She's not. I'm not a 304. All the women that I know within the community are 304. They're not 304s. But you may have a woman that comes into the community, that come into this awakening, and she may have 4 kids, and she may have 4 baby mamas. And I've seen this. That she may not live that life anymore, but guess what? She's going to have some type of a label slapped on her. Bam. And when y'all attack these women because of their past and not hold the other men accountable that slept with her to create these 3 babies and put it all on her to say, you got 3 babies and, 3 baby daddies and, you hoard them and all that. And then yet it's still just like when Christ said, when they was getting ready to stone the woman, and he said, the first one who didn't commit sin cast the first stone. Them niggas had to drop the stones.
That is so misquoted. That's so misquoted.
No, that's not misquoted, Hot Sauce. Let's read it. Since you say it's misquoted.
Read the part where it talks about he wrote something in the sand.
What did he write in the sand? You don't even know what he wrote in the sand.
Yes, I do. What
did he write in the sand?
All right, I'm going to tell you what he wrote in the sand. Give me 1 second, because I'm going to pull it up. Give me 1 second.
So what he was writing in the sand, 304, that's what you're saying?
He say nothing like that. Don't do that. Don't do me like that. He say nothing like that.
You act like he wrote something in the sand saying 304.
But please read that part first. Please read that part.
So he says that, so Jesus went into the Mount of Olives. What verse is going into what? It says, early in the morning, he came again into the temple, and all the people came unto him and sat down and taught him. And the scribes and the Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery, and when they had set her in the midst, and they say unto him, Master, this woman have taken in adultery in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what sayest thou? Let me scroll up. Y'all hear me?
Yes.
My computer locking. Hold on. Oh, no. Don't do this. Stop sharing. Hold on, y'all.
I'm going to turn on my computer because you're opening up the Bible, and I can't do it on the phone while I'm on the live. So.
Okay, so let me share. My computer locking up. Give me 1 second. I'm having a... Okay, I'm finished share. Okay, so this they said, going back to this, they said, tempting him that they might have to accuse him, but Jesus stooped down with his finger and wrote in the ground as though he heard them not. So when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, he that is without sin among you, let him cast a stone at her.
Sister,
Now,
you can make it bigger?
All right, so here's my response.
what was written in the? What was it written in the?
Yeah,
same?
I'm gonna read it right now. So before that, so first of all, the Pharisees were against Jesus because he kept saying he's the Son of God, he's the Son of God, right? Or he's the Son of the Most High, right? So the whole time the Pharisees are trying to catch him up. So this is what he wrote in the sand. Deuteronomy 22 and 22. If a man be found lying with a woman married to a husband, then they both shall die or should be stoned. Both the man that lay with the woman and the woman, so thou put away evil from Israel.
What does it say that he said wrote that in the sand?
Hold on. Let me. So he wrote, "Where's the man?" Because if the Messiah only stoned the woman, he would have broken the law. And then they would accuse him of not being the Son of God, because the Son of God or the Son of Most High would know that in this case, the only way you can put her to death if both the man and woman is there, they both must die. So in the sand, he wrote, "Where is the man?"
Wait.
Where is that? I'm confused.
Deuteronomy 22 and 22.
No, but where is it from this context and what the scripture we're reading from John 8 does it say?
When you're reading John in general, right? People rejected him as the Messiah, and the Pharisees were constantly testing and trying him to try to prove that he is not the Son of the Most High. So when they brought the woman to the Messiah, they only brought the woman, not the man. So if the Messiah said stone her, then he would have broken the law. And the Messiah should know the law. That's why we know from Deuteronomy 22 and 22, he wrote that, "Where is the man?" And since they did not bring the man, he without sin gotta let it go. He without sin shall be sinless, or whatever.
That's awesome. Again.
No, I mean that's facts. If he would have stoned her, he would have broken the law.
That's not facts. He didn't say, "Where is the man?"
Yes, he did. He wrote in the sand, "Where's the man?" That's what was written.
I'm so.
It's very simple.
This is where we do the stretch. Ultimately, when you look at this scripture, what he's saying is for all those men. Now, keep in mind, she was an adulteress. All those men, particularly one in particular, they probably caught him with, was ready to cast stones at her. And ultimately, he said, "Wait, how y'all gonna cast stones?" And the one that's throwing the stone, you probably slept with her. Right or wrong? Listen, so how you gonna cast a stone on this woman and you just got through laying on her?
What was the purpose of bringing that woman to the Messiah?
Because she was an adulteress, and them Pharisees were known. If you know anything, the history of the Pharisees, he also corrected them that they are speakers of the law, but they're not doers of the law.
But also in this scripture, John 8, right? So yes, he wrote inside on the ground, but he also said something to them as well. So he said, "He that was without sin among you, let him cast the first stone at her." So it's not like he didn't also say something to them.
Right. So for example, if he would have said stone her, the Messiah would be in sin because he would have broken the law of Deuteronomy 22 and 22. Also, the context or the relationship between the Pharisees and the Messiah was that they did not accept him as the Messiah. So they were trying to find ways to prove that he was not the Messiah. The whole point of this conversation is not about the woman. The whole point of this conversation was trying to trap the Messiah into breaking the law.
I mean, sure, if you say so. I'm just going to go by what this chapter says in the context of what the chapter speaks. And again, when he said to her, or when he said to them, "He that is without sin among you, let him first cast a stone." And then he stooped down again, right? And when he rose up again, nobody was there. So I think it was more so pertaining to the conscience of everybody. Like, if you are sinning, how can you bring somebody else before to get persecuted for sin when you yourself is doing it?
that is the Christian teaching because you're ignoring the actual context of the
Well,
scripture.
I've never been a Christian. Let's understand that first. I've always been brought up in the truth.
You're
fortunately
okay.
for
No
me.
disrespect. No disrespect. But
Wait a minute, hold on.
you're ignoring the context
So-
She's been in the truth longer than all of us probably on this stage. So
I've been in the truth 13 years.
She got you beat, sir.
I got you beat. I was raised in it. I was raised in the truth. I'm grown now.
Then you also would agree that the context of this was trying to prove that he was not the Messiah.
Well, yes, they always were trying to prove that he wasn't the son of the Most High Yah. So yes, we know that. However, I think it's a big stretch, and I'm not saying that you're not right on saying that they have been trying to prove that he was not who he was. Yes, we would agree with you. I'm sure Sister E can agree with you too. They have always tried to trap him up and tried to say that he was not the Mashiach, right? However, when we read, we have to read chapters before and chapters afterwards to get the full context. So what you're saying is that it wasn't about the woman. I will disagree with you. And I mean, we can just disagree. But when people are reading this, we see that they brought her before him to be judged. He wrote in the ground. We're trying to ask you, well, where does it say in this scripture here what he wrote in the ground? Because we don't
line upon line, precept upon precept. We define other scriptures by other scriptures.
Correct.
And I told you, Deuteronomy 22 and 22. Right? I'm actually quoting the scripture. You guys are just saying what you believe.
No, I think we're saying what we read in this chapter is what we're saying.
Correct.
So then what did he wrote on the ground then? What did he write in the ground?
Nobody knows what he wrote in the ground, sir. You're even speculating.
I'm not.
Yes, you are. Not. There's nothing definitive in this
Deuteronomy 22.
Even with that, even if you
addresses adultery. Deuteronomy 20.
I understand that, but yet and still, you cannot say that he wrote in the ground, where is the man? That's what you said?
Yes, because Deuteronomy 22 addresses adultery, right? And then it even goes back and talks about sin.
It goes back into what was the problem. Here we go right here. This isn't about Christ, but men constantly blaming women, constantly making them accountable. So when you look at the context of the scripture, one of the biggest issues with Christ was with the Pharisees. They'll speak the law but won't do the law. They wanted to bring this woman before them for charges of adultery, but while they're doing that, they wanted to hide, and that's why he says, let's go back to what he says right here. He says, and the scribes and the Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery, and when they had set her in the midst. So right here, the Pharisees brought the woman. Now keep in mind, she messing probably with one of those Pharisees.
You don't know that. No.
I'm speculating like you. If you can speculate, my nigga, I can speculate as well.
I'm not speculating. I'm
speculating. I'm speculating.
You're talking about
the same thing. I'm both speculating. So
since we're doing the speculating, we finna speculate. Well, possibly, she was probably she was laying up with one of them Pharisees. She one of the scribes. You ain't got no proof. I ain't got no proof. So since we speculate, let's go ahead and speculate.
I gave you proof.
You didn't give me no proof. You brought
I did.
your understanding and tried to embed that one little section because we said they he wrote something in the sand. He said, "I'm going to show you what he wrote in the sand." I was really searching scripture to say, did they really write? Did I miss that? And I said, no, that's hot sauce doing hot sauce stuff. But
it's not. Man, hot sauce is right. It's okay. Y'all go. Man, I can't wait to the wilderness, and I'm gonna go right up to Messiah. I'm like, tell these niggas what's up. But that's all right.
He gonna say you're speculating.
No, he's not. You're right. You're right. You're gonna say I'm right.
Because the thing is, when you even look at the context and what he said, he says, "Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned, but what saith thee?" That's what he said.
Right.
This they said, tempting him that they might have to accuse him, but Jesus stomped down, but Jesus stomped down, stooped down. I'm sorry, I meant stoop down. And put my glasses on. Stooped down and with his finger wrote on the ground as though he heard them not. So I'm sorry, I'm trying to get it out because you irritate me right now. He stooped down and he wrote something. He wasn't listening to a daggum thing they was saying. He just was writing in the ground. He probably was like, "Nigga, please." That's what I thought he probably wrote. And he got done writing, "Nigga, please." He stood up. That's when he came up. He said, that's what he said. He said, y'all finna come to me and tell me about this woman being an adulterer with a man that she slept with. Possibly.
He probably wrote down.
The thing is, ask yourself this question. If ain't none of them slept with her, why did he look up and all them niggas had scattered like rats when the lights cut on?
So he probably wrote down nigga, but he didn't say nigga, please. He probably says, where is that nigga?
Why did them Negroes scatter when he raised his head
right
up?
now?
What you say?
I can't with y'all right now. He said he probably didn't say nigga. Please, he probably say, where's that nigga? Y'all funny.
He probably did say, where is that? But what's so crazy is, let's just speculate. And somebody says that, and let's draw a picture. Somebody draw a picture. And let's say all the men in the room. I'm gonna name some men. I ain't gonna name none of the good men. Let's say Bobby Brown, Rick James, R. Kelly, all had stones in their hand. And he says, somebody said, I'm killing them. I'm serious. He says that, let me go back to when he said, hold on. And where does it say the part where, so when they continue asking, he lifted himself up and he said unto them, he that without sin among you, let him cast a stone at her. When they said that, he put his head back down and came back up. Why all them Negroes scattered?
It's funny because the person in the comments said that he drew a picture of the one who did it.
It was probably all of them. Because if she is a whore, she probably done slept with majority of them.
No, man. I'm off the train.
Because the thing is, if none of them had committed any of those sins, they probably would have been throwing stones. Them niggas dropped them stones and walked off. Pay attention to that part. Y'all missing that part? Did all them Negroes drop the stone and walk away?
Well, they dropped the stones and walk away because they could not be innocent of doing such things themselves.
Correct. Ding, 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 ding.
Wow. This is wow.
That's why they scattered.
So
because if they
I'm saying is a stretch, but what y'all saying, I'm off the train. It's okay. It's all good. Y'all got it.
What you're saying is you said that he drew in this, you can tell us what he drew in the sand. In this chapter, it does not tell us exactly what he drew in the sand, but what it does say in context is saying that if you are without sin, then you can cast a stone at her. But if you are not without sin, then you cannot cast a stone at her. That's what
somebody said. Where does it say that they scattered? They said when Jesus lifted up himself and saw none but the woman. That means when he said that they didn't see nobody but the woman, what does that mean?
They were no longer there. They were no longer being accusatory.
They walked away.
Why did they walk away? Because he said, if you ain't sin, cast that stone.
If he would have stoned her, he would have committed sin. At least that part. At least that part. That according to the law, if he would have stoned her, only her.
Who was he? Who was he?
The Messiah. If the
Messiah
said yes,
the Messiah wasn't stoning. He's talking to them.
But if the Messiah said, yes, you should stone her, he would have broken the law.
He didn't say yes. He said, whoever.
I know he didn't say yes.
So if he asked him, if you ain't did this, you can cast your stone. I'm just paraphrasing. But he ultimately said, they did this cast the first stone. Did one stone fly at this woman's head?
Okay, well, listen. Read verse 9, please. Read verse 9 because this lets you know that they did not. Because read verse 9.
And they which heard it being convicted by their own conscience, went out one by one, beginning at the eldest, even unto the last. And Jesus was left alone, and the woman was standing in the midst. Ding,
If
ding, 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 ding.
if even Deuteronomy standing on its own, it says you have to stone them both. If he agrees to only stone one and not the other, that would have been sin.
I believe you are right about Deuteronomy, Hot Sauce. However, I think that we're talking about John 8, chapter 8.
Yeah, the man is not there. So if the Pharisees say stone her, then he would have transgressed against the law.
So are you implying that that's all that this chapter is talking about, even with the contents of the verses that we're reading?
Yes, because at the end of the day, the whole point of this exercise was to prove that he is not the Son of the Most High. That's the whole point of this. The whole point of bringing this woman that did the whole synagogue, right? According to Sister E, right?
So are you saying that because the man wasn't sitting there with her, they couldn't stone her?
That is correct.
This right here, Katos, is the reason why I love having you up here, because your concept of scripture is sometimes a little hilarious.
It's written. I read it. You can read it too.
You read that part. That was not the context of this conversation right here. Because if that's the case, Christ would have been like, you know what? If the man ain't up here, because Christ was very intentional. If the man ain't up here, ain't nothing y'all can do. Ultimately, the men were up there. That's what's so crazy. You missing that part. The men were up there, and they should have been stoned. They had to drop.
Where's the proof?
Knew. That's why he said. That's why he said. Literally, this is what I'm gonna paraphrase. He said, "All y'all ninjas is getting ready to stone her." How many? Ultimately, he like, how you gonna cast a stone? He said, "Who ain't seen cast the first stone?" Them niggas dropping the stone.
This is wild.
He said, "I can't." It ain't like he playing a game with him. He simply answered their question. Like, y'all want me to stone this woman? Wait, how I'm gonna stone this woman? Because if he was gonna stone based on Deuteronomy, they all should have been up there with her. But that's why he did that, and he exposed them for being the Pharisees that they are. Because you remember the Pharisees and the scribes were speakers of the words, but weren't doers of the word. So they getting ready to make him do something that make them do something that he was like, no, that doesn't make sense. Y'all messing with her as well. Does that make sense, y'all? Other than hot sauce, no response. Does that make sense, Eric? Does that make sense?
Can you repeat the question, please?
So ultimately, have you heard what hot sauce said? Please tell me.
I think that's conjecture, but I don't want to.
Wow.
It doesn't say what you say it said. He may have said that, but the scripture doesn't say that. That's all.
The scripture simply says that
if you are going to ground, he stooped down and wrote on the ground. That's all it says.
Correct. Exactly.
He stooped on the ground, wrote it down on the ground, and he didn't say nothing. All he was telling them is, how are y'all going to hold, this goes back to our original conversation, how are y'all going to hold her accountable, but don't want to hold yourselves accountable? That goes back into that conversation we had earlier.
Well, Yeshua was holding them accountable too, because he said, without sin, cast the first stone.
So this is an example.
So he was holding them accountable as well.
Correct. So it goes back into the early conversation that you can't hold one person accountable, because even the Messiah did it. Messiah was like, I'm not going to hold her accountable. I'm going to hold y'all accountable as well. So accountability, being honest, she was considered to be a whore. So how you going to hold a whore accountable and y'all messing with her? Y'all accountable too. Accountable is on both sides.
Hold on. Where do we get that? So hold on. Y'all going to sit here and agree with her that they were always
If
messing
she
with her.
committed adultery, she would be a
No,
whore.
no. She's saying
Hold on now.
her said she was speculating because you were speculating. She's saying that if we're gonna go ahead and speculate on some things, I'm going to speculate based off of what this says in John 8.
I'm not speculating.
So if she messing around, let's say she is, and they caught her, and a woman taking
you have no even
1 second. If she messing around with another man, and she's supposed to be messing around him, is that whoredom or a form of whoredom?
I'm speechless.
So you're telling me that this woman wasn't any form of, if she was messing around with multiple men, let's look at verse 3, or she was caught in adultery.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
So
what I'm saying is, how in the world are you going to say that I'm speculating where I actually have legitimate linkage between what they're saying now?
No,
and yes, it is. It says, they say unto him, now verse 5, now Moses in the law commanded us such that it should be stoned. But what say you? They're lying to him.
And he said, after he says that, he said this they said, tempting him, that they might have to accuse him. But Jesus stooped down with his finger, wrote on the ground as though he hadn't heard nothing they were saying.
So can I get a 1 minute grace time to explain?
Oh, here we go.
You can say no, and I'll just be quiet.
No, go ahead. I want to hear.
All right. So verse 5. Now, Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. But what say you? Okay, now Moses in the law commanded us. Now we know that's Deuteronomy 24, right? 22 verse 22, right? Right there. We're establishing Deuteronomy 22 and 22 because they're saying it here that the law of Moses commanded us that she should be stoned, right? But in the law, it says that both need to be stoned. And verse 6 explains that. Now they said that tempting means to deceive, right? Because the man is not there, that they might accuse him. Accuse him of what? You're not the son of the Most High because you don't know the law. But Jesus stomped down with his finger, wrote on the ground as he heard them not. So he knew the game. You're telling me that in the law of Moses, she should be stoned. But we know in the law of Moses, it says that both should be stoned. That's how we know. That's how we know that.
Yeah, I agree with you that he's referring. He says that he's referring to the law of Moses. I definitely agree with you there. I'm not debating. Now, what I don't agree with you is when you're saying what he wrote in the ground. We don't have any context inside this chapter that tells us exactly what he wrote in the ground. And 2, yes, they're referring to the law of Moses, right? Torah. We know that. However, we cannot negate the rest of this chapter. Like, you are just negating everything else this chapter is saying. So if nothing else in this chapter matters, then why would John even write it in his book?
Because
none of it matters.
The whole point of the chapter is to try to prove he's not the Messiah. Now, if we want to talk about where he says he accused them and hold them accountable, I can agree with that. Yes, he did turn around and held the Pharisees accountable. I can rock with that. I don't disagree.
But accountable for what, Hot Sauce? Accountable for what? For their own sins, right? For their own transgressions.
For their own. I'm not saying that they slept with the woman.
I didn't say that. I think she was just doing that because you were speculating. She was speculating.
That's the only
but my speculation makes sense.
Your speculation is right.
My speculation can make sense too, because how you know one of them? I don't know who slept with who. What I do know is that they could not stone her because themselves too had sin within them. So if you have not sinned, right, then you can go ahead and throw the stone. You want to stone her, go ahead and throw the stone if you don't have sin. But what the Mashiach said is that if you have sin, you can't throw the stone at her. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is that you can't negate the rest of what is being said inside this chapter.
I'm not negating it.
Just like you said, he wrote in the ground, wrote in the sand, where is the man? I said, Well, if that's the case, the men probably could have been standing in front of them.
The reason why
That's speculating just like you.
No, because in
There's no
verse
scripture
5,
that says that he wrote in the
verse
sand,
5,
where is the man?
in verse 5 we know we're talking about Deuteronomy 22 and 23.
It ain't no scripture that says that he wrote in the sand, where is the man?
Wait, but
Yes.
what's funny is somebody said that if they wrote "Where's the man," them Pharisees would have went and got that man and brought him right back with her.
Thank you.
Did
The
now
crazy
you're
thing is, if they caught him in the act, let's say the Pharisees did follow the law. They caught this woman in adultery. They would have brought a great point, sis. You brought a great point up. They caught both of them. They didn't just catch her. They caught both of them. And if the Messiah wrote, "Where is the man?" Don't you think they was all, we got him too and brought him up? No.
The point of this whole thing was to tempt him. That is the whole point of the chapter. I'm not negating the whole point of the chapter. The whole point of the chapter is to show that he was not the Messiah. We all agreed to that.
Well, in multiple chapters, the Pharisees was trying to always trap him up. So it's not just distract him, but it does not negate that it's still being more meat and potatoes inside here. We can't say that, oh, okay, well, yeah, they're always trying to trap him up. We know that. We know that the Pharisees was always trying to trap him up because they did not believe he was the son of the Most High Yah. However, we still get a lot of meat and potatoes in these scriptures when we read them in this context.
I'm not saying you can't get other. I'm not saying you cannot glean other information on that. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying that the subject matter and the point and was written down was he could not do it because they didn't have the man, and that's what he wrote in the sand. And we know that by verse 5.
Well, I don't know about that one right there. I think that's where we're gonna have to go ahead and not agree because I don't know about that one. I don't know what he wrote in that stand. It does not give me enough clarification to say what I know he wrote in stand. So I'm not going to say that. I do agree with you, Hasos, when they say referencing the law of Moses, the Torah. Yes, they are referencing what you're saying that they're referencing. However, I'm not going to negate everything else I read with my eyes and negate it.
I'm not asking you.
It goes back into the whole thing right here. She said it. It says everyone else left, meaning all the men that were there to stone her were guilty as she was.
You gotta show me that. You gotta break that down for me.
Just like you gotta show me where it says in the sand, where is the man?
I just broke it down for you.
No. You got to give me, just like I just broke it down for you as well. But you got to show me verbatim in the scripture where it says he wrote, "Where is the man?"
We're going to disagree to disagree then. It's okay.
Okay, let me go back to the original point because the hot sauce sometimes, you add your own little spin. That's fine. That's why we still love it.
Okay. All right.
So, but going back to the point where I was making, this is where the Messiah shows in the scripture that accountability is not just on the woman, the accountability is on the man as well. Because if Christ took the approach that I'm seeing a lot of people doing in this community, where they was calling this woman a whore and they need to stone her, regardless of the man doing what they were doing, they was finna stone the crap out of her. But the Messiah was like, y'all can't stone her. The first one who hasn't sinned cast the first stone. For the person who hasn't sinned, cast the first stone. Not a single man in sight could do that. So there was accountability that Christ held upon on both sides. And I think that's where we miss it. When we go back into these lives and these YouTubes, she was a part of a Yasharel, but she was a whore as well. Or she was an adulteress. So she was sinning. But because she was that, it still didn't negate from the fact of who helping her sin. Who helping her fall short? Or who also is sinning and falling short? We're real quick to call these women 304s, but we're not real quick to call some of these men, and I hate to say this, deadbeats. There's problems on both sides.
The deadbeats
Or
are in
whores
the
as well. We don't call them whores as well. The whoredom goes both ways. They're whores
Right.
as well. If you're sticking your genitals in any and everything, you're just as much as a whore as the other one is a whore.
Correct. All these babies that's walking around here, what people don't realize, welfare only works. Let me tell you how welfare works, and I talked about this a while back. And the only reason I know this is because I'm divorced, and a part of the divorce decree, my husband had to pay, my ex-husband had to pay a certain percentage far as taking care of somebody said 304s and 807s. I can't, but they have to pay child support. Well, if the woman is getting child support in most cases, she's less dependent upon the welfare system, or she's getting support in some cases. That's how it was supposed to be designed. Because let's say I filed for child support for my daughter when she was younger. The system is going to redirect to the actual child support system to make sure that my ex-husband is not in the rear. And if he's not in the rear, he's fine. And then what happens is sometimes that child support can vary based on the amount because he's consistently paying child support. But if he doesn't, they go get the father and arrest him. Child support doesn't just stand on its own by itself and the mama just going to get it. Child support weighs in multiple factors. They look at the woman, then they look at the man, then they make sure, okay, is there a child support case on them? Yes. Is the father paying child support? I've seen some women request for child support because they were getting requests for SNAP or food stamps, and they try to go and get it. They go and make sure that she's not getting child support. They will deduct from the food stamps if she's consistently getting child support. So it's a multitude of factors when it comes to child support and food stamps. And people don't realize that. Even with child support in the state of Tennessee, you can't get like full amount of child support. They weigh in the income of the mother and the father. And they also base it on the parenting plan. Let's say that me and the father have a 50-50 parenting plan. That support is going to probably be much less. And what happens is you two end up pretty much splitting the bill. But he has to sign off on it. If it's an 80-20, if it's a 30-70, it's a 60-40 when you're in divorce court. So they put that into the factor. Child support and food stamps and all this, everything is calculated in one system. So when people say stuff like that, I'm like, y'all don't understand the wholeness of the system and how it works. Even with some of these men saying a man shouldn't have to pay child support. Well, if child support varies based on your time and how much you spend. If you're doing a 60-40, guess what? If the woman gets the child 40% and you keep the child 60%, guess what? She may have to pay you. You get what I'm saying? But there are multiple things to play into it. And if you've never been in those conversations with divorce attorneys and judges, you're going to speak from an ignorant place.
No, but child support, one thing I don't understand, if you can't afford the child, then give it to the parent who can afford the child.
What?
Yeah.
Did you hear what I just said? Child support is based on the percentage and time that the parent has the child to as well.
Yeah. I know that's the definition, but the point is this, right? The person who don't need the child support should have the child. Who's more financially valuable should be the person with the child.
There's a lot of factors to why child support plays inside courtrooms. It's not just because the person can't take care of the child. There's a lot of people who have children who don't even want to take care of them, period. And that's also another reason why child support.
But those are.
Yeah, but you made a statement saying, well, I don't believe in child support because whoever can afford the child can take care of the child.
Right.
When you look at let me tell you something. What's crazy is when you look at my income based on my ex-husband's income later on down the line, I'm more capable of taking care of my daughter than he was. Because I ended up having a job where I can be able to see to her a little bit more. So that means that I have full custody. But yet, still, you're missing my point. Child support is not just, I'm gonna just give you, you got to pay this much money, and it's now got to the point that there are more controls around it. They look at my income and his income. Whoever's going to be the custodial parent in most cases is the mother. They don't give her like full child support like they used to back in the day. They give her a percentage based on, one, how much time that child spends with the father, two, their incomes. So and it's a supplement for what the other custodial parent is doing. Because if we both living in the same house, both parties are taking care of the kids.
The reason why, and this is, you can look it up, the reason why women get custody, majority custody or full custody of the child is because men pay child support. Women don't pay child support.
You've never been married.
This is not, I had to experience it to understand it. This is not one of those things, right? You can research it, and I research it.
It ain't even research. Have you been in the courtroom with these?
And this is not one of those things where you need to experience to understand it.
Yes, it is.
You can understand. No, it's not. You can understand the data and understand it and look and understand the reason.
Do you know the conversations is had between the two attorneys and the judges?
Okay. I mean, if you're not willing to hear me, then I
go ahead and say it, Hot Sauce. Go ahead and say it. Let's base your research over my experience. Come on, Hot Sauce. Say what you got to say.
I'm not. This is not to discount your experience, but this is to look at the aggregate. The reason why women get get custody is because men pay more child support. When women are on child support, they don't pay as on the same percentage as men do, and the men don't report it. And the reason why this is because states get a big cut from child support. California alone makes $50 billion in child support.
Child support is not a gender thing, because there are women that pay just as much child support as men.
Women do not. Women on average do not.
They don't. Because most of the time, the children go to the mother in most cases, in most courts. And it's not because of child support. It's because, one, if you look at it, and I think it's something dealing with the maternal and a connection to the child, and she usually, most cases, mothers are a little bit more maternal. And the father in most cases are in agreement. But you got to realize too, that one parent doesn't get full custody of the child. You have to share. Hot Sauce, do you realize that once I separated once I divorced my husband, I had to get permission from the court to even leave the state of Tennessee? He still has some form of custody. You have to sign off on the parenting plan. There are parenting plans that say 50-50.
Sister, I have a question for you. Why did you go to child support in the first place?
I was a part of the divorce decree.
Okay, so a divorce decree and then just going to child support on its own is kind of separate in certain cases, right? So when you get a divorce, you have to add the support of the child inside the divorce decree. A lot of times when people are going to court for child support by itself, they don't have a divorce decree. They're going there most of the time because they are not getting support for that child. And therefore they have to take the other parent to court to receive any type of assistance with that child.
Correct. And even outside of that divorce decree, Tennessee still requires, let's say, that the mother, I think if the mother and the father are separated or not together and they just dating, and the woman wants to file for child support, you are required to submit. This is by the state of Tennessee, thanks to, I think, Gerald, one of the Ford brothers, implemented this, and I think everybody does this now. Both parents have to submit income, regardless. I think even if I think
that's most states, where even if the woman's not working, they're just going to take the minimum average wage and factor that in to whoever's not working. So I think that's most states. That's how they still have to factor in two sets of incomes. Correct. And if the other person's not working, they're just going to take the minimum state wage income. and do the numbers on that part. However, what I'm saying as far as hot sauce is concerned, and just you, and I asked the question, like, why did you do it? It was part of the divorce decree, because you still have to put that in the divorce decree. But there's a lot of times when people are going to child support because were not married. So there's not a divorce decree in place.
Yes.
And they're not going to child. And I'm not talking about some people's cases where it's like, oh, she's just trying to be malicious. I am paying for my child. Majority of the time, they're going to the child support office because they are not receiving any type of financial assistance for that child. And that's why they have to go into the system and put the person on child support.
I agree. 110% agree that some women are doing that. Majority of most women are doing that because they need help with the child. And for men to say, well, just give me the child. Huh? That doesn't make sense. What this woman is saying, I want my child, I just need help, because both of us created her or him.
And also to that point, Hasos, you said that you believe that whoever can financially take care of the child should get the child. So what about the person, let's say if they were married, let's use a married couple. Let's say she was at home taking care of her children. So she was a stay-at-home mom and wife to her husband, who was the provider. And now they no longer are married. So because she was a stay-at-home woman, let's say the child is 12. So she stayed at home as a wife and a mother to this child for 12 years. She has been out in the job market for 12 years. She can't just go get a job right away. So as they are getting divorced, she doesn't have a job, but she's trying to get back on her feet because clearly they're being separated now. So you're saying because now that they're not married anymore, and clearly he was the breadwinner, that she should not have access to her child because she's not the breadwinner?
No one said nothing about.
No, I didn't say that. I'm giving you a hypothetical. You said whoever can financially take care of the child. So I'm just sitting you with the scenario.
I'm just because the man has the child doesn't mean she doesn't have access to her child. No one is saying that. No one is saying that. Just
she's
because
not capable of taking care of her child because she doesn't make the money, and because she was at home with her child for 12 years and a wife.
So then the child should be with the father, and the mother can visit or be with the child anytime, whenever time she likes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No one is denying her right to see the child or be with the child. She can see the child.
But she's the one that, because when you're dealing with situations like that, hot sauce, because I'm gonna
put myself on mute. I'm gonna let you have that one. That's absolutely
okay. So you're talking. What's weird is hot sauce. You're
talking, especially if it's a boy. Especially if it's a boy.
So listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying, because hot sauce, you're speaking hypothetically. You're talking to someone.
I'm not speaking hypothetically.
Yeah, you are, because you haven't experienced it. Have you experienced it?
It doesn't matter.
That's hypothetical. Then
out there.
You're not speaking from
the information is out there.
You're speaking from speculation. So let me go back, because the situation that my little love just mentioned, I was in the same situation. You heard at the beginning when I said I wasn't making the money he was making. I eventually made the money that he made, and I eventually began to be the one that made the most money.
That was not her example.
Separated.
That was not her example.
So no. But when we first got the divorce, when we first was married, I was not working. I was 100% a housewife. I've said this before on numerous occasions. I did have a college degree, but I wasn't working. I wasn't in the workforce. And I had
just working for 12 years. You weren't working for 12. You weren't working for 12 years.
I wasn't working for like 6 years. I wasn't working. I wasn't out that long, but I was out long enough. I had that much of a gap that I didn't have anything saved. So with that being said, but I was the one that was picking her, getting her up in the morning, taking her to daycare, picking her up from daycare, making sure she was taking a bath and get ready for bed, making sure she woke up. At the same time, I'm still making sure he's getting ready to go to work. So because me and him divorced, I should have let him have her.
Yes. No one's saying that you can't see your child, take your child, or anything like that. But yes, absolutely. Why is it that we have this idea that fathers are bad parents.
No one said
Most
that. So
fathers
you
cannot
going
be-
too far.
But you're
Nobody
that's-
said
The
that.
But
fact
you're
that
saying
so why are
that.
you
You're saying
pretending that mothers can't raise
You're
their
saying
children? And I'm not saying
No one's saying that. I'm not
well,
saying
that's
that.
clearly what you're saying too. You're also
No,
saying
I'm not.
you're
No,
also
I'm not.
saying that
No.
okay, well, if you your first statement was if you cannot afford to take care of the child, it should go to the person who can take care of it. Now, there's a lot of women and there's a lot of stay-home dads now who. So you're saying that it doesn't matter what sex it is, whoever makes the most money is the one that should take care of the child, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So then I gave you a scenario. I said, are you saying that a woman that was married to her husband for, let's say they were married for 19 years, but out of them 19 years, for 12 years, she was a stay-at-home, and I'm adding more to the context now.
And what's crazy is I got a friend that went through the same thing. Her husband was a stay-at-home dad, but she was the breadwinner. So she should have got the
And
kids.
the child should go with her.
So damn the nurturing, just whoever makes the most money.
But you're making it sound like I'm blocking access to the other parent. No.
I'm not making it sound like you're blocking access to the other parent, but I think what you're saying is, listen, I think it's crazy a little bit. I'm just going to be honest with you. Especially if the scenario I gave you, you didn't even waver on the scenario I gave you. I mean, if this woman was a devoted parent for 12 years, staying at home, and the husband was the breadwinner, and now that they're getting a divorce, then she who was at home, staying with her children,
right,
being the housewife, and now that they're getting divorced, and because she was dependent on him to be the breadwinner, now she has to start all over. So because of that, you know what? You don't get to have your child and be the one to raise your child because you don't have a job.
So
because you don't have money.
But okay, so if we're saying that, then we're also
you said that. I'm just
no.
You said it goes to whoever has the money.
Let me quote you. So you just said that you don't get to raise your child. That's what you just said, right? You don't get to raise your child.
I did say that. You're not changing to say you don't get to have your child. You don't get to have the custody of your child because you are no longer married to this man who was the provider. So if somebody else in the house is the provider, that means that you're not the breadwinner. You're not the one that has the money that's coming in. You don't have the job. You don't have, according to the courts, the credentials to say, I am bringing in money and this is the amount of money that I'm bringing in, right? According to your logic. So because she doesn't, even though she was a devoted mother to her children, raising her children, and a devoted stay-at-home mother, then she can't even be in the running. She doesn't even get access to the running for this.
Correct. This is key right here. Courts have so many factors playing into this but I'm gonna let Hasso speak because now you're back to the realm that I'm telling you. There is truly in the system no concept of one having more than the other. Both parents agree. In most cases in the court system, all kids pretty much go to the mother because they're looking at the fact of the nurturer, the one that is pretty much is the nurturing factor that they look at right there. But even with that nurturing factor, and let's say the woman was the primary parent, by law, I'm still obligated to ensure that person still has custody as well and have access to that child. You missed what I said. When I was divorcing my husband, if I had custody of my child, and it doesn't matter about the court system, why would I have to go back to the court and ask for permission and his sign off to be able to leave the state of Tennessee?
So first I want to say, Cynthia, thank you so much for putting that in the chat. I really appreciate that. To my little loves, okay, so then what you're saying, using your same statement, is that a man who's taking care of his family, gets divorced, right? Now, just gets divorced. Now you're telling him I've been financially supporting and taking care of my family for the woman for 19 years and my children for 12 years, but now you're going to take away my children.
No, I didn't say that. I said according to your logic.
You can't take the children
No, I didn't say
away.
that. Hold on, let's be
You
clear.
did
I didn't
say
say
that.
that.
Yes, you said
I
that.
brought up a scenario based off of what you said. I never said that. I said if you're saying that the person who makes the most money is more financially stable should get the kid, then I gave you my scenario. So don't put it in my mouth that I said that. I never said that.
You did, but at the end you did say that, so you could just say like she's not even in the running.
Yes,
You're gonna
I
take
said,
away her
so you're
kids.
telling me that if this woman was a devoted stay-at-home mom for 12 years, I gave you a scenario based off of what you said. I said,
and he was also a
she's not
devoted.
even in the running. She's not even in the running.
He was
You're
also-
saying that you're saying that it shouldn't be any other factor to consider besides the fact that whoever makes the most money to take care of the kid.
Well, obviously, as long as there's no abuse, as long as there's no abuse or things of that nature, then that changes the whole situation.
I mean, yes, I get that. I understand that.
Right.
My point is, you're saying that there's no other factors. It's just whoever makes the most money.
I mean, but he's been a loving and devoted husband and father.
And
also.
I didn't negate that.
Yeah,
But based off of you're saying it's whoever was making the most money to take care of it. And so my thing is this: if she was married and he was the provider, you're saying that once they are no longer married, that she's not even in the running to even be considered to be the custodial parent because she was not the breadwinner.
As long as there's no abuse or craziness like that, yes.
Right. So that's why I asked you that what I asked you. But what you can't say is that I said anything. I didn't say any of the sort. I'm just asking you based on what you said. And I think that's absolutely crazy that because she is not making money, that she shouldn't even be in the running to be a custodial parent. I think that's crazy, and I absolutely do think that's crazy.
Anyway,
now, I did not say
being a custodial parent, money is not even just the main factor. Hot Sauce is making the money factor because
yes, he is, and this is why I asked based off of his scenario. Based on his scenario,
because
you don't want to pay child support. What you don't even realize that again, we're going back into the divorce arena. Divorce is a different conversation. It's not about who makes the most money, who is the custodial parent. In most cases, men end up saying, let the mother be the custodial parent. In most cases, some cases. But if there is a situation, there are cases where husbands say, I want to be the custodial parent. They will go to court and they can fight that. They have the option to fight that. Do you know that, Hot Sauce?
Yes, because when I was a kid, my father and mother went to court. And they gave it to my mother. Obviously, I mean, I was young, but I mean, I ended up with my mom. So
there were probably multiple factors where they gave it to your mother. But yet it's still, if a man stands
probably 80% of the 80%.
But that's where if you have those type of situations, you have something called split custody, where the child can have both parents. Because the thing is, I keep telling you, you have, when they weigh out the factor in the parenting plan and a divorce, we're talking about divorce right now, there's a percentage there, 60-40, 50-50, 70-30, 80-20, 90-10. Meaning, I have my daughter 90% of the time, he has it 10%, or 80-20. It depends upon how much time the child has. In that parenting plan, if let's say I have 50-50, I have to go day by day to make sure that I line out between me and him of what that looks like in the parenting plan. Both parties do. When you create that, let's say
90-10 is crazy.
No, huh? Crazy. You said what?
If a person is paying child support but only have 10% custody, that's crazy.
Hold on, but the thing is,
there's a lot of reasons why somebody will only have 10%. So we're not
outside of
agree to that. Some people agree.
Let me say this: a parenting plan, they both agree on it.
Yes, it's a mediation. It's a mediation.
Yes. Thank you. Mediation. That's the best way to put it. It's not the courts telling them you have 90-10. 90-10 is usually the father saying, I can only have them 10% of the time. You start out 50-50. And then you work your way to say, well, I can't get them on this day. You get this on. Do you realize how long it takes you to have put a parenting plan? Isn't just one person. That was the hardest part of my divorce, building that damn parenting plan. And that parenting plan, they made you stick to it. Meaning the husband has to say, okay, I'm good with this. You get them 60, I get them 40. Or let's say the husband says, I want them 70, you have them 30. After you come up with that plan and y'all agree what that split looks like, far as being parents, because most times when you have the situation you're speaking of, hot sauce, is usually 50-50. Then they go into the fact of saying, well, since this parent is going to have the majority of the time, or going to have them 60% of the time, we're going to ask that you give this much child support. The less amount of time that father chooses not to have with that child, the higher that child support goes. Then, while they're getting that child support calculation calculated, they're also saying, what does the mother make? If she doesn't make anything, guess what? The child support might be a little bit higher. But what world do we live in? I happen to be an anomaly. But what world do we live in where women are not working? Most women are working. So they're going to look at her income. Yeah. And they're going to look at his income, and then that's how they calculate the child support. And everybody agrees. Everybody agrees, including the husband. Now, if the husband opts to not be involved in the conversation, oops, that's on you. But even then, the courts will get on your case if you try to put him in a 90-10 situation if he's not there. In fact, when they're in that situation, they push for 60-40 in some cases, because they want the father to have access just like the mother. So to sit here and play this in your head that, you know, that because, you know, that 90-10 thing doesn't make sense. Well, they agreed on it. Courts don't usually go 90.
I mean, but that's from your perspective. I would need
perspective.
To hear
that was from my experience.
Yeah. So from your perspective.
Have you ever been through a divorce?
No, I haven't. I'm still happily married. No, I haven't.
Okay, then. So with that being said, if you've never experienced that,
but that just because you went through a divorce and I'm sorry that you had to go through that, doesn't make you an expert on the situation.
What?
It doesn't. It just makes you know that you went through this experience, and I'm not discounting your experience, right?
That's law. That's why I'm an expert at it, because I have to do that by law. These laws don't change.
An expert would be a divorce attorney. An expert would be a divorce
attorney. By law, the divorce attorney is not pushing the parenting plan. The court is.
I'm not disagreeing that you have the parenting plan, but what we're talking about is what would make an expert. Divorce lawyer.
Divorce requires a parenting plan.
No, a divorce lawyer would just be a divorce lawyer who went to school. However, people who have experiences of such things would be the better experts, because they actually endured and have to go through it. However, yes, we can actually be book smart. We definitely can be educated and book smart through the system. Absolutely. You're absolutely right that way. However, but to negate the actual experience of something,
no one's negating that. I literally said I'm not trying to negate it.
But that's not an opinion.
A divorce lawyer who went through who's been doing this for 20 years would be an expert.
But let's understand this too. When we're talking about the court systems and lawyers as well, right? There's a certain job that they have to do. That doesn't necessarily make them an expert. They also know how to be an expert in racketeering money. They also know how to be an expert in finagling things to suit certain things. So I mean, that's not necessarily saying that because they have the skill sets from schooling and from.
No, I said 20 years experience. I said 20 years experience of doing this.
But going back, it's not the experience that we're speaking of. We're speaking of the process and law itself. The law requires, when you are divorcing someone, you have to do a parenting plan.
I agree with you. No one's disagreeing.
So in that parenting plan, you have to line up every single day, every single hour of where their child is going to be. And before you can even go before the court, each attorney is actively working with each parent to start building that parenting plan, because that is required walking into a divorce, when you're going into a divorce, because they want to ensure that both parents agree with how the relationship of the kid is going to operate. That's required. That's not an opinion. That's required. Then the calculations are based on your income and the amount of time that you have the child. That is required. That's not some do it and others don't. That's required when you walk in that door. So what are you talking about? Hot sauce.
I have nothing else to say. I really have nothing else to say. It's okay. I'm just gonna say okay.
Because you're not experienced in that. Now again, let me make sure to let y'all know I am not a proponent of divorce, but in some cases divorces are needed because it can be more harm to the child than it is help when you're dealing with some things that transpire, toxic things that transpire.
So listen, can we talk about the rapture?
Me and Hot Sauce can go at it, Eric, for hours.
No, Sissy, you are very. You know what, man? I finally understand something today, but it's okay. I understand today. I understand.
You said what?
No, I just said I understand. I understand. Like, I understand a little bit more about you today.
What's that?
That's all. No, nothing. I understand a little bit more about you today. That's all.
That's fine. I understand something every single time I talk to you too, Hot Sauce. But
I don't mean it in a derogatory way. I'm not trying to be. I don't mean it in a derogatory way. I just understand why you. I just understand why you believe in saying the things you say. That's all.
What do you mean? I believe. Don't throw shots. What do you mean?
Oh my God! I said I'm. Oh, never mind. I literally said don't mean it in a derogatory way.
Yeah. Let's talk about the rapture before I end up kicking Hot Sauce out. All right. Because Eric, he on borrowed time. That button is just that itchy finger. Oh, if you are enjoying this program, please support our sister E. I hope y'all enjoy it.
If you, I can leave if you want me to leave. I don't want any drama. So
no,
you want me to leave.
No, I'm not messing
Hot Sauce. She's joking with you.
Oh dear God, Hot Sauce, stop it.
No, because I mean,
don't get too sensitive now. You've been holding it down this whole time. Anyway, don't get too sensitive now.
I'm not sensitive, but anyway, when I just y'all don't talk to me in the wilderness because I'm going to do my own.
Do you know that people are going to the wilderness, but not everybody's going to go over from the wilderness? You do know that, right?
I know. That's why I'm telling y'all not to talk.
Be flushed out from the wilderness. They can't make it over to the promised land, right?
That's why I'm telling y'all don't talk to me in the wilderness.
I love.
You've been talking up here. I won't be talking to you in the damn wilderness. You talking about women can't have it, your kids don't make no damn money.
Yeah.
Eric, you can tell she's a New Yorker, can't you?
Did your ass just? Oh, sorry, not cursing. Did Chupahan just say, "Yeah"? You know what? Hot Sauce. Sister, kick him off now. I was trying to tell him, "Don't be sensitive. Stay up here." Now he's talking about, "Yeah."
I'm not sensitive. I'm not.
Eric, tell Hot Sauce don't mess with that New York woman. I don't think he can.
Yeah,
you better warn him, Eric.
You don't want that smoke.
Man, I've been around New Yorkers all my life. Nothing new under the sun.
Oh my gosh!
No, because I'm from Philly, so I go there a lot.
There we
and
go. Right there we go.
So that's a bigger problem because
Philly reminds me of Brooklyn. To be honest with you, I don't know why, but it just seemed like got the same kind of swag, sort of.
Oh.
No. Philly and New York is very different. Very, very different.
Oh, here we go.
Very different.
So
Philadelphia people are kind, nurturing, friendly. New Yorkers, well, we know the reputation.
Okay, see. Now let me tell you something. Okay, let me say this. I agree with you. I think that New York does have that reputation, right? And I think some people play that reputation up. However, I can speak for myself and the people I know. I was raised by a Southern woman, so we don't play those games over here. I say thank you, please, and all the mannerisms of respect. And I give respect. However, we are straight shooters. We call a spade, and we'll call you out on your BS. So that is the difference. You're correct between us and you.
But I'm gonna tell you something. I'm a Southerner living in New York. I have done nothing but experience love since I've been here. Can y'all hear me? That's all
Yeah,
I've experienced.
that's how we are. We just don't tolerate foolishness.
Exactly. We
Did
call
you-
it spade a spade. We don't play
I'm
the
t-
radio.
I'm gonna tell y'all something. One day, a couple days ago, we have to go to the laundromat. My friend who lives in Detroit, she can't fathom the fact of why I have to go to the laundromat. I said, most, and this is my god sister. She's like, why do you go to the laundromat? And I said, I have to go to the laundromat because we don't have washing machines in our building. And she just couldn't understand. So, and I'm washing my clothes. When you wash clothes, you got to have that little buggy. You know what buggy I'm talking about, Eric? And my little love. So I'm dragging my buggy with my bag of clean clothes, getting ready to take it into a house. The nice gentleman across the street, 2 of them, saw me taking it and getting ready to pull it up my stairs. Both of them ran across the street, said, don't you do this by yourself. And they both politely picked up my buggy and took it in front of my front door for me and then said, if you ever see us, don't ever do that by yourself. So New Yorkers have been nice to me. I ain't gonna say I haven't went off on a New Yorker here and there, but hey, I don't went off on people in Memphis, so that's just people. But I
have bad apples everywhere, and we definitely have some bad apples. But exactly like you said, we have hospitality. We are hospitable to everybody else. However, we talk direct. There's a type of directness that how we speak, and that's what I think turns people off sometimes because we don't play smoke and mirrors. And I think that if from other states, mostly
they read y'all wrong, and y'all really not that bad. You went out, my love, my little love. But I'm telling y'all, New Yorkers are nothing but kind to me. I haven't had a moment yet to say, "Oh man, these people are rude." I've experienced rudeness, and I lived in D.C. They rude in D.C. Well, not D.C. I lived in Virginia, close to D.C. But being in D.C. itself, they're rude.
No, DC people are right. They're all right. I would say the rudest people I've encountered were definitely New Yorkers by far. By far.
Eric, why are you laughing? And why are you letting this happen up here? Let's talk about the rapture. All right, let's move on to the rapture now. So did the rapture ever happen, y'all?
I'm still waiting. I know it's after October 7th somewhere in the world. So
yeah, did they change the date again?
It was the 6th and the 7th, and now is 8 is October 8th somewhere. And now what time is it?
It's October 7th.
Almost 12. Almost 12:30. So
October
today is October 7th here on the East Coast. So
yeah.
Before I move to the next subject, have I done with the first subject talking about, the whores of Babylon?
But the one thing I do want to understand, because I've never seen online like any like Tail Ministries. I've never seen him bash women, or I've never seen I'm not saying that it's not true. I've just never seen like Dante Forson, from the stuff I've saw I never see him call women 304s or nothing like that.
She just told you she was on Facebook with going back and forth with him on his Facebook. So clearly, I mean, you haven't seen it, but clearly he had made this comment. This is why she did this whole live. Not
he said that you condone it, right? He didn't call her that. Or am I wrong?
Okay, changing the subject.
Okay, all right.
That's why you missed the whole thing. This is how she started it.
He too busy.
I haven't seen Asante Forson or Tail Ministry or any of them say things like that. This is what she said when she got on.
I'm talking about a conversation that I had in the chat. I said I want to talk about.
I understand that. I understand that conversation in the Facebook, but then it expanded, saying that like in these circles that all of these people, all of these different groups are.
I don't talk to Tail Ministry, so I don't know what they talking about.
I thought you guys were good.
I don't talk to nobody. Didn't you hear me say I don't
She
talk
also
to
said that
anybody
too, Hot
anymore?
Sauce. She also said that too.
Okay,
She's been
all
taking
right,
a
all right.
sabbatical from people.
When I tell you I'm taking, have y'all seen me on YouTube?
No, but that
Nope.
doesn't.
So I haven't
That
talked to
doesn't.
nobody.
Okay, okay, fair enough. All right, fair enough.
I have been in my quiet zone for the past 3 months, popping my head
So
out
hot
every so
sauce.
often,
So
and
hot
then coming
sauce.
back in. Huh?
No, I was saying hot sauce started a conversation about 3 Eye Atlas.
Yeah, yeah.
So what's your
Yeah.
take on it?
Oh, let me finish this one statement though. Hot sauce, I've been taking a break, so I don't talk to nobody. Only person I
Okay.
talk to is my kid, me, and family members and a few friends. Because I've been kind of taking a break after my mom passed to kind of just chill.
No, I feel you. I feel you on
Yeah,
that
so I
because
haven't been talking to anybody, and
people. Yeah,
it's an intentional thing for me right now. And
yeah.
I'm
I mean,
still continue. I'm gonna still continue
yeah,
with this intentional move of just
yeah.
kind of, you know,
Because I mean, I'm not throwing shade on anybody, but I understand that because when I used to go to the different Sukkot meetups and stuff like that, like it just gets weird. Like first it starts off normal, and then things just get weird, and I understand that. I
I
understand.
just be quiet. Oh, I forgot. Somebody said, don't forget Rio. Rio too. In fact, he's sitting next to me, laid out in his doggy bed. So
Yeah,
I've
I
been
get
kind of,
that.
like I said, intentionally just kind of doing my own thing, and just this popped up today because I just felt like being me. So and me and my boy Dante kept going back about his concept of what a 304 is, and I said 304s can be men and women, and a man that sticks his raw penis into somebody that you know she's nasty, both of y'all are suspect
Yeah,
304s.
yeah. I
So
mean, people, bird of a feather flock together, right? Like I've been in agreement with you the whole time about that.
hey, Pastor Kelly, he in the audience. He said, "What y'all talking about?" I didn't call him and tell him I was going live. I'm sorry. I ain't talked to you. I talked to Pastor Kelly because I
Shalom,
consider him
Pastor
to be
Kelly.
like a moray to me. He's like a moray to me. So I talk to him every day, just about, or every
I
other
don't know.
day.
I just think like the group thing gets weird
What's
after a
weird?
while. I mean, I don't want to get into details, but like when I go to like these different
What you said when you go in the
like
wilderness, you ain't talking to none of us.
Yes,
So
he
what is you
did. He
talking?
did say
that's
that.
facts. That is facts. Hey, the only person I would talk to is Benya Israel. He has a channel. That guy.
You talking about
That's the
Benaiah?
only Benaiah. Thank you.
Well, I talk to
Thank
Benaiah once a week. I add that now. I do talk to him once a
because
week.
that guy
I
is
talk only
intelligent.
because of the
He's
Israelite
smart.
Justice
I
Foundation.
love Bernard. One, yes, he is smart, but he's so humble.
Yes,
And
he
He's
is.
smart, intelligent,
I wish I could be as humble as him.
pragmatic. Yeah, man. Like, yeah, he's definitely something that we our young brother should aspire to, right?
Yep.
He's
Yep.
smart,
Right.
intelligent, pragmatic. So I'll talk to him. That's about
But
it.
yeah, he probably ain't gonna. He's not much for conversation, so he'll probably be like, "Yeah, okay, thank you." He's not much for conversation. He ain't gonna talk.
I understand. I will understand. I ain't even mad at that. I
But I
understand.
those are the only people I talk in the community because I'm still active with the African Israelite Justice Foundation, so that's what I've been focusing on with them. So I talked to him, probably Ema, Pastor Kelly, and within the
They're
community.
related, right? Is it Pastor Kelly and Benya Israel
Anaya
related, right?
Israel,
Yeah,
Benaiah, they're
cousins.
related,
your
right?
cousin.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
Shout out to
cousins.
Pastor Kelly.
Yeah.
Pastor
Yeah,
Kelly,
Pastor
come
Kelly.
on up, my brother. Come on
Yes,
I
up.
have a
Pastor
question
Kelly,
for
because
you.
he
I have a
said
question
that
for
the
you.
Messiah wrote, "Bring the man in the sand," and we
Yes,
need to
sir. Yes, sir. Get
Oh
and
my
bring it out.
gosh. Pastor
Bring
Kelly,
it
you
out.
got to
Now,
come up
now,
here.
now,
You
hold
listen,
on.
Pastor Kelly. He
Let
said
me
that the Mashiach
hold on.
bring
Now,
the man here.
if he agree with me, can I get an apology up in here?
Hold on, y'all. Who is this? I'm finna put them up. And if they do something weird, I'm kicking them out.
Hello, Sister A. How you do today?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Why you kick him out so fast? Maybe he's
I'm scared, y'all. Okay, everybody vote. Should I let him back up?
He just said hi.
That's all he said. You kicked him out so quick.
Hey,
That's
Ching,
what
how
me.
are
Why?
you?
Why? Yeah, that's what. Why did you kick me? I did nothing wrong today.
Today.
I
Yeah,
got
today.
somebody.
Yeah,
That's
but yeah,
somebody's
for that.
AI voice.
No, it's no AI today. I tell you now, big girl, it's not big girl. But that hot sauce was in my restaurant, right? He ordered the 2 order and the both said no, though, and he did not pay today. What the fuck? Why did he not pay for the food?
What?
Hot sauce. See,
I was not in his restaurant. I was not in his restaurant.
Hot sauce. Why he talking about you like that?
woo! It gets interesting after 12:30.
I can't with y'all tonight.
Let me go ahead and kick him on out because he said, "What the f? Hot sauce? What you do?"
I ain't do nothing, man. I ain't been in nobody's restaurant.
Oh my gosh, y'all! Where's Pastor Kelly? Come up here because we finna talk about. I'm finna change the subject. This scripture, Pastor Kelly. We talk about John 8. Hot sauce said out of his mouth that he knows what the Messiah wrote in the sand.
Yeah.
Hot sauce. What did he write in the sand?
Deuteronomy 22 and 22.
No, you said he wrote, where's the other man?
Yeah, Deuteronomy 22 and 22. Still, yes. Deuteronomy 22 and 22.
Oh my gosh.
Pastor Kelly, please come up here.
Pastor Kelly.
Well, I don't know if you should. I don't know if you should come up here because I want somebody who will agree with me. So whoever wants to agree with me, come up here.
Oh, wait.
Wait a minute. But the thing is, my little love somewhat agreed with you.
No. Well, somewhat, yes. I did say that when he referred to the law of Moses, he definitely was referring to, the law of Moses. Yes. But when he also was talking about, he wrote, bring the man in the sand and all that other mess. Nah,
because that's what it's referring to.
Yes, Hostos, but you also was not even taking into consideration the context of what John 8 was saying throughout the whole chapter.
It's time for me to go back to work.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm not negating that part. But I'm just saying the whole point of this was that they were trying to trap him. And what he wrote on the sand was to do that.
Was to bring the man. Where's the man at?
Where's the man at? To do, yeah.
Pastor
That's
Kelly,
all I'm saying.
It's sitting in the cut like, I'm not finna jump in that one.
Yeah, because he knows foolishness. Pastor Kelly, I don't even blame you.
It ain't foolishness. It ain't. I mean, it ain't. I mean, we went line by line, but it's all good.
What? I'm finna make this a permanent panel.
I want you to tell me exactly where in scriptures it says that the Messiah wrote, bring the man when he knelt down and wrote with his finger in that sand.
I'm finna call Santonio to come and get hot sauce.
No, I'm not dealing with that dude, man. I ain't dealing with that dude.
I'm just messing with you. Oh, finish your question, sis, with hot sauce.
I'm done.
I mean, we can move on. I mean, we did it already. We agreed to disagree.
See, from now on, hot sauce, I am going to call my little love to come up here on this panel every time you get up here.
Well, I mean, she's not being reasonable.
What? How am I not being reasonable, Hassos? You said that the Mashiach wrote, "Bring the man."
Okay, can we pull it back up? Can we pull it back up? Can you pull the scripture back?
And all I said to you is, can you please show me in scriptures where it tells us that he wrote with his finger, his index finger, in the sand or in the gravel, "Bring the man here."
Let me go ahead and pull this up. I want you to show me where it says "Bring the man." You really do. Everybody said they like you because my little love, you do bring balance. Because me and the hot sauce be screaming at each other.
Oh,
and you and Eric just bring that back.
Okay. All right. So Jesus went unto the Mount of. Okay, so first of all, Do we agree that they're trying to trap him in this chapter?
Yes, we know that. Yes,
Okay.
we said
Okay,
yes.
fine,
We
we
know
agree.
that.
So
But I
check.
also said that in scriptures we know that Pharisees was trying to trap him up. It's not just in this one
I
chapter.
agree with you. I agree with you on that also. Okay, so that's 2 checks. Early in the morning, he came again into the temple, and the people came unto him and sat down and taught him. And the scribes and the Pharisees unto him brought unto him a woman taken in adultery, and when they said has sat her into the midst, they said unto him, Mashiach, this woman has taken adultery in
Yeah, we
the
gotta
very
move
act.
past this one in a minute because everybody
Okay.
gonna choke slam me if I come back to this again. But go on, finish hot sauce.
Okay. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned. So let's pause here. Let's go to the law of Moses. So Deuteronomy 22 and 22. Deuteronomy is a part of the law of Moses. We agree. If a man found lying with the wife of another man, both of them shall die, and the man who lay with the woman and the woman with the man. So both. Leviticus 20 and 10. If a man commits adultery with the wife of his neighbor, both adulterer and adulteress shall surely be put to death. Hebrews 13 and 4. Let the marriage, okay, but anyway, so here, we have it here, right? We have it in 2 different areas of the law, Leviticus and Deuteronomy, which chapter 5, was verse 5 talking about. Can we agree to that?
Yes.
Okay, we can agree to that. So now they said tempting him. Now, tempting, we can say that they're deceiving him, right? Or they're trying to deceive him.
They're provoking him.
Okay, provoking him.
Right.
That okay, fine. We all agree there. So we agree with 5 and we agree with 6. That they might accuse him, right? So they're looking for something to accuse the Messiah for. But Jesus stooped down, with his finger wrote on the ground as he heard them not. Now, obviously, that has to be Deuteronomy 22 and Leviticus. So when they continue asking him, he lift up and said unto him, he without the. So he cannot stone her. Or 1, he proves that he's not the Mashiach, and number 2, he would be breaking the law, committing sin.
Again, where in this chapter or scripture where it says that that's exactly what he wrote in the sand? That's all I asked you. That's what me and Sister was asking you. Like,
I think I just did that.
Well, let me
No,
tell you why I
not.
disagree. Let me tell you why I disagree. If you read verse 7, so when they continue asking him, he lifted up himself. I can't see the.
Yes, scroll it up, Sister E. Scroll it up. Or
the first part is just fine. If when it says when they if you read the NIV, it said when they persisted in asking him, if he wrote something on the ground, they would see what he wrote on the ground. Right? So there would be no need to persist on keep asking him the same question. Because remember, let me finish. Okay, remember when he lifted up. Okay, now I can't. Now it's too small. But anyway, let me come.
Let me hold on. I'll make it larger. And did he say they black people?
Yes, that's what he said, and this is what I'm saying.
Yeah, they black people.
Now said they black people.
We as black people do not let stuff go. We as black people do not let. Right as of right now is a great point.
But all I asked you is where in this chapter does it say that that's what he wrote in the sand? You said that's what he wrote.
Wait a minute, y'all not gonna skip past.
Look at what it says. It says,
it said they black people.
And when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, he that is without sin among you, that he first cast a stone at her. Right? Then look at verse 8. And again, he stooped down and wrote on the ground.
Right.
Now, why? What he wrote the same thing twice?
Yeah.
Okay.
But where does
Have I
it
not
say
been
what he
repeating
wrote in the
myself over
ground,
and
Hot
over
First?
again?
Where does it say what he wrote in the ground? That was my first thing to you. My first thing to you is you said that that's what he wrote in the ground, as if you was definitively knowing that that is exactly what he wrote in the ground.
Yes,
And that's why
because it's referring to verse 5.
But then look at verse 9. And they which heard it, being convicted by their own conscience, went out by one,
right.
went out one by one, being at the eldest, even unto the last. And Jesus was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. Well,
Exactly.
obviously they got the message. There was no need. They would have got the message when he wrote on the ground the first time. They would have.
Let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. How many times have you have to repeat yourself when people disagree with you?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay.
But you have to understand who you're dealing with now. You're dealing with the Messiah.
Right, but they don't believe he's the Messiah.
I still am waiting for him to show me in scripture that it says that the Messiah, the Mashiach, wrote, bring the man in the ground. I don't see that anywhere, and you have not showed me that where scripture says this exactly what he said. He took his index finger and wrote in the ground that was the first thing. And then the second thing we were trying to get you to see is that you cannot negate the context and what the scriptures are saying. The scriptures were saying the reason why they dispersed and went away is because he said that he without sin cast the first stone. And clearly they had to have some type of sin in order to not want to throw the first stone. And you said no, that wasn't.
No, I never said no to that, because everyone falls short of glory of God. But the point of what I'm saying to you is this, right? Is that the reason why they left because they failed the mission.
Oh, so when it said them being convicted, that wasn't the reason? When it says them being convicted, wasn't the reason?
Them being convicted by their own conscience went out one by. That is also the reason. I'm not negating that.
What is their conviction?
Being convicted, verse 9.
Wait a minute, what are they convicted of?
So I would say they knew that they were wrong for, they knew that they fell and they were wrong for what you call it, being deceitful.
I'm gonna go ahead on mute.
Hey, Pastor Kelly, how are you?
I'm doing good. Just sitting back here listening to you guys. But
Please,
doing good. Just so happened I just got a. I was just working on
the verse means.
What's that? What the verse means?
Can you please tell us what this chapter is talking about in reference to?
Well, it's twofold, because when you look at this chapter, apparently there's an accusation. But it doesn't. One of the things that stands out, it doesn't say who made the accusation, because normally, especially if you go off, I think I heard the brother mention Deuteronomy 22. There has to be someone that's in the picture outside the elders that's bringing that forth to the elders. So you don't see that inside the passage here. And I know that that's pretty much a conversation that many try to or have discussed, wanting to know exactly what the Messiah wrote on the ground. But there's really nothing that says exactly what he wrote on the ground. Everything else, everything that many may believe or say is just assumptions and speculations. But the whole thing about the whole situation, you could get into bearing false witness too, because there was no one there. Because when there's an accusation, a man has to, it's a number of scenarios. Let's just say if he was married to her, he found that she was not who she says she was, in terms of not being with someone else, similar to Joseph's situation with Miriam, then he could bring her before the elders and, to be stoned. So it's a number of moving parts there. But one of the things that's really the summary of this text is bearing false witness. And that's where the question was asked, he without sin cast the first stone. Because when you start looking at the climate, the Pharisees were interpreting scriptures a certain way in which they you see the passages, not this passage, but other passages, I believe, like Matthew's 15 refers to a phrase called the tradition of the elders. Paul referred to it as similar commandments of men. And I think you also see that in Isaiah as well. So it's really not, anything that will give you any inclination of exactly what the Messiah wrote on the ground. I mean, because I studied this a number of different ways. I'm very analytical, but there's nothing that I really saw in the text that gives just even the slightest inclination of what was written on the ground. And I've even studied this from other sources, for secondary sources from Eusebius, some of the others, Chrysostom, just different ones, just to see exactly what the so-called church fathers would have even written or had written about their commentaries about the text. So, yeah.
So
Thank you so
ultimately,
much, Pastor Kelly.
Well,
my little
I
love
think
has been.
it's clear. I think it's clear today, so I would have to respectfully disagree.
Oh, that's fine. But my approach to it is, we can agree to disagree, but the key is, what does the word say? Because unless we have something that's that we can say is tangible, that is 100%, then whether we agree or disagree, the word has the final say.
I agree.
And that's the key. And unless you show me something, and I'm not saying I know it all, because I profess that I don't know it all. Because if I knew it all, guess what? I wouldn't have been in Christianity for so long as I was, teaching the
Amen to
things that I
that.
was teaching. So unless you have something coming, directly from the scriptures that can substantiate what you're saying without being an assumption, idea, or something that your belief, and with the scriptures it tells us, right, you have 2 or 3 witnesses, so you have to
Right.
have not one text, but according to Deuteronomy 17 and Deuteronomy 19, you have to have at least another text to substantiate your claim. I understand going to Deuteronomy, pulling up Deuteronomy 22, but that
And
doesn't give you the
Leviticus.
context.
And
Well,
Leviticus.
those are just saying what the process, but it never tells you what the Messiah
But I
actually
mean,
wrote on the ground.
the point I think that we all agree was, number one, that they're trying to trap the Messiah because they don't believe who he was. Number
Hmm.
two, they bring an adulteress there, and they're trying to. So, for example, if he would have stoned her, uh, for this sin, because I mean, false witness could be in there as well. That's also there as well, because there was no one there to accuse them also. So that can also be a part of the charges, right? So
Exactly.
right. So I mean, but it doesn't have to be an either or. It can be all.
Well,
It
what
could
I'm
be
getting at is
false
when
witness. It could be the guy's not there, right?
and look at it from this perspective. Uh, have you written ancient Hebrew, Paleo Hebrew letters?
Have I written it? No, I have not.
And my point is that just for scribes alone, right, just for a section of it can take quite some time to write out. So what you're saying is that the Messiah wrote uh, uh, a almost pretty much, and correct me if I'm wrong, a verdict on the ground.
No, I said, where's the guy? Where's the guy?
Or even if it's written, where's the guy? But there's nothing that alludes to that. You know what I mean? I definitely understand
I
where you're
I,
coming
I
from.
would say 5 and 6. 5 and 6 alludes to that.
Yeah, I trust me. I studied this inside out, and I understand your position. But there's nothing there that says that. There's
Well, then
nothing that alludes to it
how
because it doesn't mention a guy. It just mentions what she's accused of and what the pretty much what the elders are getting ready to stone her for.
but we
But it
don't.
really does.
But back then, everybody would have known the law, so you wouldn't have to say things in such detail, right?
Actually, you
So
would. You would
no,
because when you're looking at the elders, because that's what it says, when you start getting into the process of what the elders,
Uh-huh.
right? They have to really deliberate this thing. And it's not about what everyone else would assume. It's all about what the elders say. And even when we get into the judges, I mean, think about what the judges have to do. The judges and the elders have to be very astute in the law, statutes, and commandments before they can even cast a verdict. If not, they'll be considered, as the Messiah spoke on, about hypocrites, because they would not have been
So
qualified to judge.
so if the Messiah is an expert, right? We can all agree that he's an expert in the law.
Yeah.
Pharisees are supposedly to be experts in the law, right? So you can have a communication with basic foundation without explaining everything because there are two experts talking.
Well, this is what I'm gonna the point that I'm gonna make about the Messiah. He was not an elder in that capacity.
Right.
He was not designated to do that. Of course, as you pointed out and others pointed out, and the scriptures make it clear, they constantly look for ways to trap him. But he
Right.
was not functioning, because that's one of the things that many will argue with the scripture. Like, for those that are honoring the law, statutes, and commandments, honor feast days, they'll bring up this passage and say, well, someone didn't honor it. How come you guys don't stone them? Well, that's not my responsibilities. And then two, we do have to, even back at that time, in this area, they had to go to get approval by the Roman government for capital murder or capital punishment. And in this text, you don't see them even doing that. That's why the Sanhedrin had to go before Pilate, because they
Right.
had,
Right.
you see what I'm saying? So
Right.
that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of moving parts here. And like I said, for me, I err on the side of caution. If I don't see it there, then I don't roll with it. Now, I have ideas about certain things, even with this scenario, but I kind of keep it to myself, on what could have happened, not necessarily with the accused. I mean, the person that you don't see here. One of my things that I thought about and was like, hey, could it possibly be that those guys, at least one of those guys or those guys, did something with her? You know what I mean? It's just,
Oh
like I
my
said,
god. Oh my
but see,
god.
That's exactly what Sister E was
Oh my
saying
god.
as well
so,
as a scenario.
but my point that I'm making is, all we're doing is what's speculating, because that's what gets, I would say that's what gives room for, and I'm not saying, and don't take this in me
No.
disrespecting
It's
in any
fine. It's
kind of
fine.
way,
It's fine.
but
Go ahead.
that's
You
what
can say.
gives room for interpolation, and people branching off with things that's not even in the text. And we all been guilty of, on being on the receiving end of being in Christianity, in spaces, uh, you know, with doctrine that was not even biblical. Matter of fact, even how you viewed the text, passages that's there that you were blinded to because of the theologies that we were subjected to, that now once you freed yourself from that, it's like, wait a minute, who put this passage there? I know this passage was there. I didn't study this text.
Right.
And,
Right.
so that's what I'm going at with that. And like I said, I totally understand your point, because that is a great angle of going to the law. Well, what does the law say about it? But
Right.
the
I mean,
key
but
is,
that's you're supposed to do. But I mean, look,
yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
like for what you're saying. Like he's not a loss. He's not accused. Okay, those are all very fair, poignant points, and I will concede to that. That's very fair. But what I'm saying is that well, my whole point is of this is just the point of number one, they're trying to get him to sin, and he's writing something now to the effect of to the law or even bearing false witness of saying that you're trying to trap.
And see, he could have even just put in, I mean, wrote down, you know, just could have just wrote it, drew a picture of a sun. You know what I mean? Who knows? I'm just saying, just using a little humor, but realistically, we just don't know. But the Messiah and those that was there, I would love to, and trust me, I done researched it. I done tried to come up with every kind of scenario. And like I said, I thought of other scenarios, and that was one of the scenarios that I expressed. But the scenario that you have is a great point with in the text that you bring up, but it just doesn't give anything about what was written on the sand, what he would have written down, especially if he said, "Ye whoever without sin cast the first stone." So it's like, what did he write down? Was he just? I mean, it just leaves that area that's open to speculation, but it's not really a valid point. And like I said,
Okay, but
if you find it, I trust me, I'm all for it. Like, hey,
I
reach
mean,
out to me, let me know.
okay, then let me change my point. 99% most likely he wrote "What's the guy?" All right, we can go with that.
This guy.
All right. So now, even though you say 99.9%,
Yeah,
then that's still leaning to a
I
certain
can
way.
live with the 1% error. That's fine. I can leave with
Well,
the 1%
What
error.
about the 85% area?
I
because
can't.
see, even if, because then you get into DNA. If you get into the DNA, Mari Povich, right? That's still almost saying that's the father. Because when you get into 99,
Nah,
isn't it?
because because
So you
come
see what
on.
I'm saying? See, I'm a geek, man. So I see what you're doing here. Now, if you said 98, 97, 96, you
99.
said 99. So you
All
still
right, so
saying
far
it's
we can go
yes.
96. All right, 4% error. There we go. All right, there we go. We can all live with that. Well, maybe not 68 in my love,
No,
but
I don't. I think Pastor Kelly being nice to you. I don't agree with it. If you can't show me in the text that that's what it said, he
I
didn't
just
say
broke
that.
it
We
down
can't
for you.
speculate
I
about
broke
that.
it down.
Trying to
No,
make
but quite
one
honestly, I am being nice though. But quite honestly, it doesn't say. You know what I mean? So,
Y'all
but
got me saying Hezekiah
great
walkover.
conversation though. Great conversation, guys. Great conversation. Y'all cutting up here. Got me up here at the wee hours of the night.
How's
Well, I mean,
cutting up? He cutting
no,
up.
I'm not the one talking about she busted down for all the Pharisees. I think that's wild.
Let me
That's
tell
wild.
you, the meat of this conversation, Pastor Kelly, is dealing with accountability. How at times we notice that men, definitely in our community, have a tendency that if a woman has let's say 5 baby daddies, she's considered to be the whore of Babylon. And then you have to say, well, what about the 5 baby daddies? What do we consider them to be? And I've heard people say, well, it's 100% her body, so she can make the decision. Because I say, I'm not speaking from someone who is, I'm not speaking for people that will be considered to be set apart, but we're talking about people that are not set apart. You still got to be responsible. So if you know that this woman is known as, not, whore Babylon, if you consider her to be that, then you would, these men need to protect themselves so that they won't have to, have kids by this woman. And ultimately, some people have said that, that's 100% of her body. If she doesn't want to do it and doesn't want him to, protect himself, then guess what? That's her fault, And I'm sitting here saying, when people when people are acting irresponsibly, both people are accountable for their decisions, not just the woman, but the man as well. And that's why we got into the John 8, because we showed that in the situation with the adulterous woman and the men ready to stone her, Christ ultimately said, he who not committed sin passed throw the first stone. And ultimately, nobody could cast a stone. So this is where you see that Christ is not just holding her accountable; she's holding also the entire, the men accountable as well. Not necessarily if she slept with them, but yet it's still y'all doing y'all things too. So I said, if that's the case, then Christ would have said, "Well, let's just stone her." If Christ had the same mentality of what we've been seeing in the community, and
Well,
that was
actually,
why we ended up talking about John 8, because the thing is, accountability are on both parties. And when we take that accountability and just throw it all on the woman, we leave other men out here able to go continue in their bad behavior without any correction, and this vice versa. When women do things like that, they need to be corrected as well.
well, even to your point, and actually to Hot Sauce point, the passage that he brought up, Deuteronomy 22, it holds both of them accountable. When you really study the law, that man, let's just say he called himself trying to smooth talk the female into doing XYZ, and she engages. Both of them are held accountable.
Yep.
It's not a one-sided thing, and unfortunately, it's the way things are right now. The way society is, it's almost like everything is on the female. Now we do know, and it's we can say it's not fair, but it's the reality that if a woman has, let's just say, sleeps with 5 guys in 1 week versus a guy sleeping with 5 women in 1 week, it's looked upon in a different light. And unfortunately, a guy could do, let's just say, 100 women in 1 week, and he'll still have a high level of respect that's going to be, given to him. And a woman could just have, let's say, 2 guys in 1 week, and she could be looked at it in a totally different light, and that could be how people view her for the rest of her life.
Correct.
And
Yes, because
it's not,
encouragement.
it's
It's
unfortunate, but it's the truth. But when we start dealing with accountability, there's plenty of passages. And again, hot sauce, if the passage that he brought up, if you read Deuteronomy 22, and especially when you get down to that
And
section
Leviticus
of it,
10.
starting at verse 13, you'll see that there is an accountability. And even when you see rape, I know some would say, "Wait a minute, rape? They forcing the guy to be with the girl." No, it's not from what we think of today. It's basically what happens is it's a heavy penalty, but what happens now is she's tainted for, remember Dinah, the story of Dinah, when she got raped, all right? From that point on, it's like her whole reputation is ruined, right? And so now it's like this guy, they saying now you're going to have to pay a heavy fee, a heavy punishment, and now you're going to be accountable to her for the rest of your life. So now you're going to have to bear that as well, because her shame is not just going to be her shame; it's going to be a shame to you as well. So and that's to minimize or prevent that from happening. That's why this penalty is very stiff at that time.
Yep. I mean, hold on. First, I want to say, let the record show that I've said that it's on both people's part, right? I don't want to be any kind of misunderstanding that I'm saying it's all the woman's fault. Like I said before, if I'm dating a woman and she has 50 kids by 50 different dudes, and she gets pregnant, that's on me, right? Because I was foolish enough to deal with something like that. And vice versa. If she's dealing with a future, and future has all these baby mamas, well, what do you expect is going to happen to you? Like, there's accountability on both sides. And most likely, these people always end up together anyway, these types of people. So,
Yeah, and
It's just a
again,
lot.
that's the unfortunate thing. But this is where, and I think a lot of it comes from how we have been taught, when it comes to relationships. I think a lot of it, households, home, things that we were subjected to, environment, that really has a bearing on, even when many will read the text versus letting the text actually speak for itself. Many cases, many will read the text with an idea and then try to line the text up with that. I hope that makes sense. We see that in church a lot, right? You get taught biblical hermeneutics, right? When you go to school, but then when you see pastors teaching, right, 99% are not following biblical hermeneutics. They find a passage based off a thought they had, and then they piecemeal a couple of passages together, and then that becomes a 45-minute motivational speech.
Yep. And that's what's crazy. It goes back into, y'all remember back in the day, some of y'all, I know Pastor Kelly does, and anybody that grew up in the church. You remember back in the day when the young girl would get pregnant and they would put the young girl before the church and decimate her. But the young man that she probably slept with put the young girl before the church and she got pregnant early. You remember that,
because the
Pastor Kelly?
kid,
That was a pet peeve of mine, because
Yes.
That's why I'm driven the way that I'm driven, because I've seen it firsthand. You know,
But the
uh,
but normally the
girls.
guy's at the church. He doesn't
I'm
go to
saying
church.
the church that I grew up in, Mount Pleasant Missionary Baptist Church, 100 Montgomery Street, North New Jersey, 07103, Dr. T. Van B. Road. You know, I was born and raised in that church, pretty much, and I've seen it firsthand. You know, you got 15, 14, 15-year-old girls, and in a couple of situations, it was some
Deacons.
ministerial staff members that couldn't keep their
Yes.
hands to themselves, or the drummer or the minister, the organist couldn't keep their hands to themselves. So the girl comes up to the front and has to basically rededicate herself, you know, the whole nine. And every time you never see the girl again. But I've never seen a guy get ridiculed. I haven't seen a minister of
Man,
music.
get ridiculed.
When, you know, Father's Day, they'll give out a gift for the oldest father, the youngest father, the father with the most kids. And I remember the minister of music, not even married, right? Young guy. He was like probably like 23, 24 years old. I'm not going to mention his name just in case he may, you know, he may pop up out of the weeds. But he did not get ridiculed. He got a gift.
Yep.
Wasn't married, kid out of wedlock, but a 14, 15-year-old girl. Matter of fact, I'm not even going to go that far. They didn't even offer that to single women. So we see some of those examples around us, unfortunately. And that's why I'm the way that I am when it comes to far as being fair and is sticking strictly with the scriptures
Yep.
and what the scripture says.
I don't know about that because at my church, when it's Mother's Day, they go all out for single moms, moms who haven't been married, and things like that.
That's
So,
brand new. They didn't do that at first.
Yeah, I grew up in a traditional Baptist church.
But even
Right.
though if they do that,
I would
how
say
what they're
a
saying
lot of
is
churches do
that they used to
When
put
I was a kid.
women on display to be ridiculed because of their situation, and that did happen a lot in the churches, and it still happens now. It's not back in the day; it still happens now in certain churches.
Because the
Think about-
dude is not there. She's not dating a dude in the church. She's dating.
And
a
that's
dude
not true, Haskell. That's not true.
Oh, my-
Sometimes they are in there, just like Pastor Kelly said. It could even be grown-up men taking advantage of these young girls.
Yeah, I'll use this person for example, Jamal Bryant. Jamal Bryant, if you know Jamal Bryant, right?
That's
if you
that's an anomaly.
No, boy, let me just use this as an example, right? Jamal Bryant, Baltimore, right? That's where he's from. But in that church, and I looked up and found the records and everything because a friend of mine was a playwright and wrote a play about a pastor having babies inside the church, cheating on his wife. And Jamal Bryant confronted him. And he called me up about the whole situation. But make a long story short, he had gotten pregnant underage girls inside his ministry. And when I started researching and investigating that situation, the people made the females, they demonized the girls and not holding him accountable. You know, and you see that it happened a lot. It's like the girls were underage. You know, when you have someone his age in that type of position, very influential.
Well, let me say this first. First, he should be in jail because I'm not
Absolutely.
I'm not going to ride for him on that. But what I'm saying is that those things where pastors are sleeping with underage children and stuff like that, it does happen. But I would say that would be the minority of pastors. And also I will say this, despite that is the minority, they all should be in jail. I don't want to make light of that. But I mean, like, when we're talking about more everyday experiences, majority of the time, that the guy she's sleeping with is not in the church.
That is not the case. That's not the case.
I think that's an assumption.
See, I'm gonna mute myself.
That's
because I'm not like when it comes to
but the thing is,
stuff like that.
But the thing is, like Pastor Kelly and most of us, I interacted with multiple churches. interacted multiple, being in church, being in the choir scene, being in ministries. What Pastor Kelly is saying is norm. You see that all the time. Those young girls getting pregnant, because most of the times those young girls, their most interaction they have is most people is sometimes in church.
Exactly.
But that's
That
their
that all right.
generally that's her that's her social circle, because she's in church a lot. And guess what?
See,
That's her.
no.
And I can
That's
speak on,
talking.
and
Huh?
can I just use this as I use this as an example, right? And I remember being, I'm not going to mention the organization of pastors, but I remember when I met with the bishop over a particular organization, had uh, almost 100 pastors up under it. And I remember going to lunch, and he had someone else with him, a pastor with him. And I remember sitting there eating, and the pastor steady flirting with the girl, the waitress, right? I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, what's going, and I'm seeing what's going on with these guys, and I mean, suddenly the pastor says, I don't like the waitress because she's too friendly. Because I mean, she's just being overly friendly to me. Then the other pastor, I mean, the bishop says, you see that young thing right there? I'm being real with you. I just quite straight up. You see that young thing right there? Yeah, you know what we would do to her? We would, we would have her put a big tip on the table, have her bring her friends over to the hotel. We flip them out, and then we send them on our way. Don't ever have to see them again. And I
Ooh,
literally, and this is
okay.
this is dealing with conferences, and basically what they were is try to see if they could get me sucked into that. And I literally
Mm,
got up and I told them, you will see them again. You know what I mean? And I said, you're going to be seeing them again when you're on your way to hell. And they got their life straight. And
yep.
I got up and walked from the and I called my wife up about it. I could tell you scenarios. I could tell you pastors,
Do you remember Pastor Kelly?
drinking and smoking in the behind, real quick, sister, smoking and drinking behind the scene after service and talking about who the new girl they gonna bag. I
Man,
literally had to at one service a bishop touching women's hands a certain way at the altar, and I had to say something. I told my wife, I was like, "You see what he's doing right there?" Because again, you know, even though you grow up in the church, I was out there in the streets, and you don't lose certain things. You have a certain discernment about you. So the
correct.
pastor had on one hand his palm on top of their back of their hand, but then he had somebody was holding the mic, but his other hand was underneath her hand, massaging with the center with his middle finger, massaging the center of her palm at the altar.
Yes. Do you
And
remember?
I could tell you some stories, and that's why I just don't play when it comes to that. Starting with leadership.
Yep. Yep. Hey, Pastor Kelly, do you remember what happened in Memphis about a couple of years ago? It actually hit. I think it was local news, but I think it kind of hit some of other news outlets, where there was a pastor in Memphis that married this woman, and the congregation was in an utter uproar because this woman was like a madam within the church scene, where she
Yeah.
had girls that would go and hook up with pastors when they came to town.
Yep.
This was in Memphis. And they said that, and he was a major pastor, and his new wife. Now keep in mind, this man had changed wives numerous times, but she remembers this. Diane said she remembers it as well. The church was in a utter uproar because he married the madam. The madam was known for getting girls to hook up with pastors when they came to town. This lets you know right here, Hot Sauce, that's not
No,
a
you're conflating
minority.
what I'm
No,
saying.
no, I think what Hot Sauce is saying though is that
You're
he's not
conflating.
saying that he's
I
saying that it's not everyone that's doing it. That
no
he's
no
saying it's a
what I'm
percentage of them
saying
that may.
He said it's
when
a
I'm saying
minority, like it rarely
no
He
happens.
said a
when I'm
minority.
when I hello, can you guys hear me? Hello, what I'm saying is that in Sunday school and things like that, when we were all kids, majority of the girls were out there dating dudes that were in the street, not in the not in Sunday school. Now, when we're talking about pastors, absolutely, because pastors getting down just like everybody else. Now, when we're talking about pastors, that's something different. But what I was talking about is like the girls, the young girls are getting pregnant. Outside of the pastor, it was a dude in the street. He wasn't at church.
That's
Well,
not even.
That's
I would
debatable.
I would say for what I
It's
saw,
not.
it
It
was
is
totally the
not.
opposite.
It is
Most of the ones
debatable
that I
because
saw.
if your whole circle is in the church, then most of the time they're in a circle and
Yeah.
their inner social people are in church.
Kids go to school.
Let me tell you something. Let me explain something. If the child, if the dog, the girl is that much, if she wasn't connected to the church and her parents didn't really care, first and foremost, they wouldn't be putting her in front of everybody. You have to have a strong connection with the church for them to have the audacity and the parent to allow them to put her in front of the church and make a public spectacle of her. So that shows
All
that
right,
her
so
strong social, her circle tended, most girls in those type of situations, they get to that point, their circle is the church, meaning the musicians, one of the boys in the church, or one of the or even going as far as possibly even some of the ministers. In most cases I've seen, because keep in mind, you're talking about myself who's been a part of church and seen church, been in pockets of, I've been in this environment for a long time. Same thing with Pastor Kelly, same thing with my little love, because she's noticed it. When you see this type of situation, the inside circle or social circle is the church. In most cases, that girl is messing with someone in the
I've been
church.
going to Sunday school and since a teenager all my life, just like the
I've been
rest of
going
y'all.
to
And
church, Sunday school, choir
and
concert.
on top of that, I'm Gen X. I'm Gen X. So
I'm Gen X.
In American history, the largest group of teenage pregnancies happened in the 90s. My generation, or in this case, our generation, right? And majority of those girls who got pregnant, at least in Pennsylvania,
Pennsylvania was
one
the worst.
in Pennsylvania,
Oh,
most of those girls,
Philly
I'm-
was
I'm-
the worst.
hot sauce. And
right?
see,
And I'm telling you because I lived it.
I lived
Most
in
of the girls
Memphis.
got pregnant.
Wherever,
Most of the
that is
girls got pregnant outside with dudes outside. Right, you did have preachers being inappropriate. That was definitely a thing. It was definitely a thing. So I'm going to agree with you there. But the other girls, which are the majority, got pregnant with dudes outside, and most of those girls just disappear.
Well, I'll say this too, because I don't want to just focus on the preachers, but I could say it was much higher percentage from within because
thank you.
it wasn't just pastors. But
Well,
now we
Pennsylvania
use
was
that as a
different.
suggestion. I mean, as an example. But you had drummers, ministers of music that was young people. You had
drummers were
man, we used to
known
have
for
the
that.
junior choir. We used to go camping and all kinds of stuff. You know, you had guys and girls, and many of the girls that was getting pregnant was from many of the guys from within the church. Well, what happened is
Pennsylvania was
the
different.
guy ended up leaving and going to another church.
Correct. Oh,
Hot
I've
sauce.
seen
You
that.
experienced all of Pennsylvania's churches to know this.
It was different because the girls the girls that got pregnant by the local drug dealer, the local thug on the corner, or the athlete, or athlete adjacent, all day every day. All day every day.
Well, we're not denying that could have happened, but when you say things like the majority, we have to push back because majority is not. It's not true.
And the crazy thing is,
cannot be. Go ahead, Sister.
Choir scene, the musicians are notorious.
I'm trying to tell you.
Gosh,
going through the choir scene.
But you guys are saying the same thing. You're telling me that majority of the church girls that got pregnant by someone inside the church. You're telling me that.
Yes.
You're telling me that, and I'm saying I'm saying the opposite. In most cases, at least where I grew up in the church at, Sunday school, I grew up in church. Yes, they were getting
They
pregnant by the
worse.
Jews. Don't go to church.
They
Well,
the
I
worst.
can say for the ministry I grew up in and the fellowship I was associated with, I can tell you emphatically,
Because
most of them was
I
getting
had prayed
pregnant
with
from
2
within.
girls. They got
Not to
pregnant by
mention if
2
it's the
Jews out there.
pastor's son. Jesus,
Yeah,
we ain't got
because I
no
mean,
baby.
but even just then, like we used to have fellowship because growing up in the Baptist church, I'm not sure if you guys grew up in the Baptist church, but the Baptist church they also have a fellowship that they're associated with, and they
Uh-huh.
also have state conferences and all those different things. They have programs that coincide with that. So
Yeah.
yeah, we used to have basketball leagues with the
Yeah, we go to
cheerleading.
Bible
We used to
study,
have,
summer camp, and all that. Yeah,
but
everybody.
And they
but what
will
I'm
have
getting
the
at
test
is
on those programs.
yeah, and where I'm getting at is it was a lot of stuff that was going on. You know
Exactly.
what I'm saying? And
I'm not.
I understand your point, but I'm just saying the girls in church, right? The girls in church, uh, most of them that got pregnant, the young girls, were pregnant from within. Now I understand you saying where you grew up at, you saw something totally different, and I'm not saying that
The
you
girls in
didn't, but I'm
Sunday
telling you where
school.
I grew up at and what I was subjected to, not just with the church that I was part of, and other church. I could tell you it's most of the girls that got pregnant was by a knucklehead from within the church. The guy ended
Well,
what the parents would end up doing is they would end up have their son go to another church
well,
while the
The
girl is
rumor is
I
end up
mean,
leaving the
but
church.
even when they know, everybody knows. It's not like a big secret.
Yeah.
Everybody
but
knows. And then on top of that, well, I'm just gonna say in Philly, ball players, quarter boys, uh,
and most and what's
30-year-old
crazy is
dudes, 30-year-old dudes that be coming around the high school. These are the dudes that were getting the church go pregnant.
no,
Well,
there was
and, and you know
not.
what? That's a little different. I don't know about your area, but in my area, most of the girls that they were getting pregnant, especially those that's out there in the streets, right? They're very convenient. They go with what's convenient. You know what I mean? And you know how it goes when you know spaces. They're not looking. I mean, it's a lot, and I don't want to just
It's
make assumptions and
easy.
speculate.
Let me tell
Yeah,
you why I think he's off. When you're a church girl, and this is somebody who's a church girl and grew up in the church, your parents watch you like a hawk. They watch you like a hawk. My mama watched everything that I did, where I went, and all my other friends that were church girls.
yeah,
Very overbearing and protective. But guess what? They took their guard down when we went to church. They took their guard down when we
yeah.
went to these choir concerts because they felt like, oh, they're going to church. And guess what? When you take that guard down, is when they cut up. Every single church choir trip is going to be a conversation after the fact because the youth department then done something they have no business doing. How many times I had friends where it was another Baptist church in the city. They had, and we got wind because guess what happened? When one youth department would get in trouble, the other youth departments would hear about it. One youth department got set down where they couldn't sing for a whole year because they had cut up so bad on their church trip. And when I say cut up, y'all mean what y'all know what I mean. It turns to freak fest when they go on them church trips and on the bus and all types of stuff. Because
Mhm.
that's where you can act out because you can't act out with the dope boy because guess what? Your mama watching you like a hawk. You can't act out with the athlete because most church girls, parents, if they are athletic, their parents are there. Or if you understand Kojic, you couldn't get into dance programs because Kojic deemed it as being unholy. You got to understand Baptist. You got to understand the demographics, households before you say stuff because most church girls
the same
do things
girl,
within the church.
the same girl I saw at Sunday school that went to the same high school I did was dating a dude that didn't go to our church, and she got pregnant. And it was
What's the parents at?
Is that one?
I'm not saying that it doesn't happen.
But what I'm saying to you is that and the church I went to, and the two churches I went to, because sometimes I go with my grandmother in West Philly, two churches that I went to, that was common. That was common.
Youth trips, hot sauce.
Say again?
Did you ever go on those youth trips?
Yes, in the summertime, yeah.
What happened on those youth trips?
Listen.
Hold
I am
on.
not saying that there
happened on
wasn't.
those youth trips, Hot Sauce?
I am not saying
He said
that.
you gonna plead the fifth.
They were having sex. They were some
Okay.
of them were having sex.
That's
Some
my
of them were
point right
having
there.
sex in the woods, in the trees.
Because it was accessible, right?
But it was also accessible in high school too.
No, it wasn't. In some cases.
People in my high school were having sex in the classroom.
I mean, yeah, you was having sex. Nobody is saying
You
that.
in the classroom?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
in the
There's a couple
classroom?
kids that got there was a
Oh,
couple kids that
man.
got expelled at my school for having sex in the classroom.
All right then, y'all.
All right. Well,
Man, did you go to
I think you just
Eastside High?
controversy.
I
Like
went to a pretty bad high school. I went to a pretty bad, like really bad high school.
Sound like Hot Sauce went to Eastside High.
I was about to say to Pastor Kelly, I was about to say he needed Joe Clark.
Exactly.
No, I mean, like girls were giving blowjob in the bathrooms. I mean, come on, guys.
Oh!
All right, hey man, we get to it. Let me go ahead. Let me jump off here, man. So,
All right,
yeah, we still gotta be respectful, yeah. But I
Okay,
understand.
all right, I apologize.
Yeah.
I actually gotta get up in the morning anyway because I gotta go to our church is having an event at 12 o'clock on the afternoon tomorrow, so I gotta go to bed and get up in the morning. So my assembly rather. So that's all right, Hot Sauce. You gonna come up here every single time. I'm gonna bring my little love up here to give you that.
It's
work.
fine.
She's not
It's
gonna
gonna
let
be
you get
love
away
all
with
day.
it.
That's all. It's all
Yeah,
good.
I think he just wants to go in the opposite direction just because.
I'm not. I just don't understand what. Well, anyway, I would just say my experience is very different than you guys. That's all.
Well, yeah, and no one's negating your experience, but when you say things like the majority or things like that, that's where you get the pushback.
Okay, well, majority in Pennsylvania. There you go.
See, that's even questionable.
Right. And how would you know? You just said you grew up in the truth. So why were you at Christian churches?
So I wasn't at Christian churches, but however, I have a background where people told me all their business all the time. And you know how many stories I can tell you from their mouths on how when they went on
You weren't a part of the community.
When those trips, that's where they lost their virginity. They was having sex. Do you know how many people I can tell you touched by different people in their church, and it was hush hush? You know how many stories I can tell?
No, touchy. Yeah, touchy. I agree with that. I agree with that.
I love 1 second. This is the best energy I have seen with somebody giving Hot Sauce pushback is my little love. From now on, I'm gonna text you every time I go live.
Because Hot Sauce, if you say certain things, you gotta stand on it, and it has to make sense though. And I'm not negating any of your experiences. That's not what I negate. But sometimes when you say certain things, it's just like, wait, what?
But you're not making sense. You're telling me that you're not even a part of the community, but however, you know all these things is going on. You haven't gone to the Christian church camps. You haven't been a part of the youth basketball team. You haven't been a part of the choir.
No, but what my experience can tell you is that I have 2 people on this panel that can say, you know what she's saying that she knows or has heard of is correct. That's what I do have now.
Well, I mean, because they're just going to well, I'm not going to talk about Sister E just gonna disagree with me because she just wants to disagree with me.
I told you.
You are funny.
Somebody said they second that.
People who have told me from their AME churches, their Baptist churches, their Pentecostal churches that they lost their virginities in the church. You're
conflating because you're just telling me that this stuff happens, which I have agreed to. When Kelly said it, Sister E said it. We
said a majority.
We're saying that
it's the majority of these women that was getting pregnant and having to go before the church and get scrutinized, and the man does not.
What they're saying is that is the majority, and I'm saying, well, at least in Pennsylvania, my experience is the opposite. The majority of the girls that was getting pregnant were not with guys that were in the church. They just wasn't. Now, that doesn't mean that were people having sex there with people inside the church. Yes, but I'm just going to say majority of the Sunday school girls that I went to Sunday school with were messing with dudes outside this Sunday school. Or youth choir or youth basketball, whatever.
This is why everybody's saying this. Look at this. Look at this. My little love.
Thank you, guys.
It's
Hot sauce. We gonna make this we finna make this a whole show. All of us, including Eric on here. Every week, I'm gonna have my little love, you, Eric, and myself, and we just gonna throw a topic up and we're gonna see how this lands.
No, I want Cynthia Yah on here because she was making a very good point that you wouldn't even highlight, which was cold-blooded.
What did she say?
She cold-blooded. She made a very good point. About the divorcing and where the child should go and stuff like that.
You think the child should go with the person with the highest pay because you don't want to get child support? Admit it.
No. It's not. It's not.
Eric laughing because he know I'm telling the truth. That's your point.
Well, I'm not on child support, but I mean,
I'm just saying you don't want nobody to give out child support. We know why you saying they need to go with them.
Well, because obviously you should go with the more financial stable person because it's better for the child.
Okay, we all have to get up with sister even in this because hot sauce. Just you know what hot sauce. We're gonna go another round about this. Okay, we already went a second round about the damn writing in the sand. It is bedtime now.
And I'm right about that. I'm sorry. I'm right about
you better go to bed.
Right.
I'm right about that.
Sweet dream.
I found the crew now. I done found a new crew. Everybody email me on this panel. We're gonna pick a subject and we finna go from there because hot sauce, you've met your match.
And I do this in love, hot sauce. I want you to know that.
I don't first of all, I don't think I met my match because she's just making what you call it.
What is it? What I'm asking you to prove things that you say out your mouth?
I have. She just refused to accept that.
No. When you say, you write something in the stand, I can prove it. Show me exactly what I said.
And I did. You
know, everybody in Philly, all the churches Philly, all the women, the girls that was having babies, that was by dope boys. Come on now.
I said majority, not all. I said majority.
Yeah, majority. You said majority was by dope boys. Like, come on now.
I said dope boys, ballers, and dope boys, ballers, and then 30-something-year-olds.
Right.
Eric, come help him.
And I do believe that it did happen. You are absolutely right. But when you say things like majority and Philly and 50, like you don't went through all the Philadelphia churches and you took the statistics. Boy,
I went more churches than you though.
You ain't good for you. Good for you because I'm not tainted by your Christianity at all.
Right. So I don't understand. I don't even understand how you can even come and even question me because you haven't even gone to the Christian church.
Absolutely, I can question you.
That's insane.
When I say something that makes sense, and then somebody else can back me up and say, you know what she said was correct, and then that's exactly how I can question you. Say something else. I'm gonna talk about it again.
She's from, right, Eric?
Say again.
What borough is she from? I already know you know what borough is she from.
See, this is why New York people need to sit down because
you better stop it.
This is the problem with New York people. Think they know everything.
No, you was the one I feel like you knew everything. I'm confused how you want to sit there and look in the mirror and say that to somebody else.
Because you are definitely Mrs. Know-It-All. You are definitely a Mrs. Know-It-All. Definitely.
I need every live that I have when I drop this link. My little love, if you can do it. And hot sauce. And Eric, you're supposed to be the mediator too. You're not helping.
Well,
I have to hear everything before.
He's gonna say I'm a know-it-all. All I did is ask him to prove what he said. How is that being a know-it-all when I say, hey, when you say something,
no, you did more than that, ma'am. You did more than that.
Yeah, let you prove what you said.
You haven't proved anything though, hot sauce.
I proved a lot. You just refused evidence.
Wrong borough.
You just
Wrong
no,
bird.
she proved it. I proved it. Like, no, that doesn't say that. Blah 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 blah. Right? If a person refused to look at the evidence, then what can I do?
So who
Right?
else in the chat seen that? When we read John 3, please, who else in the chat seen it said that the Mashiach wrote, bring the man.
That's what it says, because that's what refers to the law.
My gracious. You know what? Hot Sauce is sleepy. He getting a little delusional because he tired. He need to go sleep.
See, here the name calling comes. See, here it comes.
That's not name calling.
I love this. Eric, finally somebody can go toe
How
to
is
toe
that
with
name
Hot
calling?
Sauce.
I'm tired too, Hot Sauce. That's why I'm telling you to go to bed. Go to bed.
Oh my gosh. Eric,
Yes.
why are you not helping
I'm
with
not
this
from
situation?
Brooklyn. I'm from the Bronx. Somebody in the chat said Brooklyn.
No,
I'm
she
not.
said-
I'm from the Bronx. I'm from the BX, the South Bronx, to be correct.
Ooh, wait. What you got to say about that, Eric?
None.
Aren't you from New York, Eric? Aren't you from New York?
I'm from Brooklyn.
Oh, you from Brooklyn as well? See, it's a shame because that's why I like Tupac. Now, there you go. That's why I like Tupac.
Wait,
Better
he's
than me.
from New York. Well, he was born in LA.
No, he's from.
Tupac
no,
is
he's
from
from
Brooklyn.
Maryland.
You know.
He is
No,
from
he's
New
from.
York.
No, he's not. He's from Maryland, Baltimore, right?
No, he's from New York.
He's from New York. Where was he born at?
No, Tupac was not born in New York. Where was he raised? Where was he raised? He was raised in Baltimore, right?
No. Oh my gosh. He was born in East Harlem, to be exact.
I said, where was he raised?
He went to LA.
No, he was in. Wasn't he?
Yes, he did spend some time there. Yes, you're right, Hot Sauce. He did spend some time there. He did go to school there. Yes.
Yeah, he was raised in Baltimore, I believe, or high school at least.
I mean, high school, but I mean, to say raised.
Oh, well, by the time you in high school, your foundation is already there.
Right. It is. Absolutely.
My daughter was raised in another town and came to another city.
So then how long was he in New York for then?
You know, I don't even know. And I don't know. At this point, I don't. Anybody else care?
Eric.
Anyway, I don't. Anyway,
Listen, I don't want you to get off of here and get mad. I will. You listen.
He would have left.
I think with your love, I have
no. It's okay.
I am definitely going to push back on foolishness. Absolutely.
Well, there was no foolishness until you start interjecting about how you know about the church but wasn't a part of the church. I think that was foolishness, if I'm being honest.
You was ignoring me and Pastor Kelly.
Wait,
she didn't even.
Wait a minute.
I agree.
This is why we get into these debates, because when you say crap like that, so are you saying, let's say for instance, right? See, I got to bring up another scenario now. So are you saying that if a person read books, right? Read books, that they cannot speak on anything that they read because they didn't experience it?
No, what I'm saying to you is that you cannot sit here and say you knew what goes on in the church.
I can say that. I can say that based on my experiences. People told me their stories about
this is what New Yorkers do.
How can I not say that? How can I not think about that?
New York, see, this is the thing. New Yorkers will cut you off.
I sure will.
You better talk about how they're straight shooters and polite. Cutting people off is not polite.
Good question.
No, I said straight shooter. I said I'm a straight shooter. So if you're saying something that doesn't make sense, I'm going to straight cut you off and let you know.
But at least we should give each other common courtesy to let each other finish.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
Eric, where are you?
Go ahead.
I'm here.
Go ahead. You wouldn't say that I don't have no experience in the church, therefore I can't speak about it, right?
So
Hey.
you're speculating all these things.
No,
and
I
then
didn't
you just
speculate.
go
I told you what I knew from my own experience
and
and what
then
other
you
people
would
in the
just
church.
and then you
So,
just
okay, so
man.
now,
but you have to speculate if you're
Hey,
going to
Graham.
say
how is that
major-
speculation? Please bring up a dictionary for this boy.
I'm gonna say if you allow me to get more than 3 words in. I'm saying you're speculating because if you're gonna sit here and say majority of women were getting pregnant inside your churches, then that's speculation on your part.
Wait, please say
Especially
it correctly.
because you
Am
weren't
I
even a part of
saying
the
that the
Christian
majority of women getting pregnant in churches, or did I say that the majority of women getting pregnant in churches was by people in the church? See, please be clear on what you're saying.
Either way, it's speculation.
So again,
See, you just want to argue to argue.
If I
You
tell
just
you
want to
something
argue.
that I know
I'm not gonna
from
entertain
my
it. You just like to
experience,
argue
that's
for arguing.
speculation.
All right. Hold on.
You just want to argue to
Hold
argue.
on.
I
Hold on.
don't.
Everybody. I'm telling everybody go to their
You
corner.
want the bell up?
Somebody said best channel on YouTube. Oh, that's Chain. Oh.
I don't be understanding. Like, come on now. And then I gotta correct you on how you can correct me. Come on, stop it.
You just like to argue. That's all.
Hey,
I do like to debate. You are absolutely right. I do. I was on a debate team.
hey, Eric. It's time
Yes,
for me to get that old thing that went back.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go search for that. Well, y'all, as y'all can see, this is a great new show idea. I'm gonna make sure and have my
I'm not here to argue all the time. I
You
come
are
here
here
to
always to argue. Hot sauce.
But
Everything
you
you say is an
gotta
argument.
give Hot Sauce credit because it didn't get hostile. Usually it gets hostile.
Oh, because she's a woman. That's why I'm not gonna get.
Oh,
I'm not gonna get.
where's my little love it? See,
I'm right here. I mean, I don't see why I would be getting hostile, but understand I can hold my own if you want to get.
I'm not into that. I don't.
But I don't understand why it would get
Scary.
hostile.
No, we said normally it gets hostile.
Right.
Yeah,
But
because
you said
that's men.
I was a
That's
woman.
men talking. She's a woman, so at the end of the day, why would I get hostile with a woman? That doesn't make
it's gonna be
sense,
the new late night show.
That's a good attitude.
The new
right?
late
That
night
doesn't make
show.
sense.
Once a week.
That's about the best thing you said all night, Hot Sauce.
I said a lot of see, you just like to argue.
I'm just playing with
Just
you.
like to argue. There
I'm
it is.
just playing.
Right
Now I'm just teasing you just because I can, because you Hot Sauce. That's why.
Oh my gosh. This is the first person that has had going toe to toe with hard sauce, but to the extent that he does not be like, I'm gone. So this is the
Hot
line.
Sauce was man. He'd have been gone already.
Oh,
No,
it's
because
Santonio.
it's going to get to the point of being disrespectful, right? It will
Yeah,
get to the point of being
Santonio would have been
disrespectful,
up here. It would have been ugly.
right?
He would have.
And this is not disrespectful. Like they get disrespectful, and I'm not trying to get disrespectful with people.
Yeah, and this is all in fun. This is not pointing at each other.
like that guy you always
We'll
have
love
this
each other.
reading
This is all
the
just
thing,
family.
whoever that guy is that like yelling at people all the time.
Talking about Santonio?
No, there's another dude who.
Oh, you talking about Yerma? Yeah. I'm not.
Yeah.
using all
That
of them.
dude.
I'm not.
That
I'm not
dude
using
needs
all
anger
them.
management. That dude needs anger management.
You say he need anger management? He does. That's so funny though, but he does. Yeah, if y'all like
Yelling
this,
at everybody.
we're gonna pick another subject. So the subject was men being accountable as well as women when it comes to whoredom. That's the whole conversation right here.
Hoarding?
Whoredom.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
What's the next subject next week, y'all? Give me some ideas. Because this right here, I'm talking about, I ain't had this much fun in a live in a long time.
And to think I was going to come up here.
What is today? Tuesday?
Okay, so let me put this disclaimer for anybody that's on the panel. Understand that the chat is going to be after the fact is the worst part. What I might do is not post some of the things that may come because, some people going to send stuff, sis, for me and you, like, look at those loudmouth women. Then some
Yeah.
gonna come in hot sauce like, what is wrong with him? He's a little special. And then some people may say, what happened to Eric? So, you know.
Well, I get it. I mean, your chat attacks me like clockwork, so I'm used to it. It's okay. I'm crazy. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm arrogant. Blah 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 blah.
No, we just want you to stay engaged. It's when you run, we be like, oh, there you go.
No, because at the point, because I have a short temper, and I'll get to that point where I start cussing people out, and I don't want to do that here.
Oh, please don't do that.
Right? I go to other
channels.
channels.
You don't even know how to cuss. Stop it.
You do not know. You do not know me. You do not know me. I will say some
If
stuff.
starts cussing, I think I'm gonna start laughing.
I will say some things that will shake your foundation. So so instead of getting that, I'm just like, you know what? It's just time for me to go.
Hot sauce and shaking foundation.
Who said shake your foundation?
No, because I really have a really short temper, so I'll just go before I start crashing out.
That makes sense.
My gosh, I want to see what your crash out looks like. Hot sauce.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
I just want to see it for 1 minute.
I will cuss you out quick. So I'm just like, let me just go. Especially I'm talking about the Bible. I'm not gonna crash out talking about the Bible. That's crazy.
This is the same man that says that when he go into the wilderness, all of us
He ain't talking to nobody.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not, because number one, I'm trying to save myself. I know myself. I don't want to be crashing out on people. So I'm gonna be on the side, be like, let me just because like, man, look, I'm just trying to make it through like everybody else. So let me just keep my mouth shut. And while y'all, because the thing about it is, y'all look, everybody's coming to the wilderness.
Not everybody.
Yes, they are, because he says, I will purge the rebels among you. So the niggas drinking 40s, girls who are twerking, face tattoos, they're all going to be there.
Well, we already know they're the first ones out. They're going to be the first ones out.
And then you got the Christians.
It's the ones that's quietly twerking in their heads. Is the one we're going to be like, okay.
Then you got the Christians.
Okay, I think that should be the next topic. Because you said everybody just coming to the wilderness?
Yeah,
it's everybody.
Yes, because it's
everybody.
I'm going to remember the covenant I made with your forefathers, and bring you out of the wilderness. And in the wilderness, I will purge the rebels from among you.
Yeah, see, it says I will purge the rebels from among you.
Right.
Everybody's not going to make it to the wilderness.
Thank you.
Why not? Why not? Why would that change?
You can because you can see. Well, one
another subject
being unalive, and then you have some people that's just stiff neck, and they won't listen, and they're gonna be left here.
Y'all gonna laugh.
That's like in the Exodus with Egypt, same thing.
So wilderness is a good conversation because you have some of us who believe that the wilderness is here now. We're the wilderness of the people.
Me personally, I believe everywhere but Zion is the wilderness, but that's just me.
No, I don't believe that. What?
Everywhere, I believe everywhere. Like,
so do you don't believe in the second Exodus?
I believe we're in the wilderness. I mean, think about it. If you think about what we went through when we were in the wilderness in the first Exodus, walking around in circles, being disrespectful, being disobedient, we got that right now.
Well,
no, because we know.
I'm agree with hot sauce. I hear you, brother, but I don't necessarily agree with that. I don't think that everywhere is, but Zion is the wilderness. And like hot sauce said,
no, I didn't say Zion is the wilderness. I said I believe everywhere but Zion.
But yeah. I'm sorry, that's what I meant. Wait. And I'm with hot sauce. Then do you believe in the second gathering, the second Exodus? Then
right? And you
yeah, absolutely.
So
I believe remember, there's some people that's on. If you read Isaiah 66, I believe it's verse 20. It talks about all the different ways that we're going to be gathered back to. Some people are going to fly. Some people are going to take ships. Some people are going to drive. There are people that's on. I believe it's on the continent, right?
Okay.
And there are
that's a good topic too. Where's Israel?
Well, it's definitely. Well, listen. If you read the scriptures and study it well, you cannot picture it being anywhere but on the continent.
I don't know,
Now,
man.
where
I'm going to say I don't
right
know.
here, it's right here. We won't know until it's all said and done, and Yeshua is standing before us.
Well, you
But
know, y'all
up
know.
until that, I absolutely believe it's on the continent.
The thing is,
I don't know,
niggas say-
man. I don't know.
I don't 100% agree with West Africa. I believe that the whole of
East,
Africa,
it has to be East
Well,
Africa.
He said continent.
including
I think-
Israel.
I think
Israel
Genesis.
actually, if it was not for this, was it Suez Canal, Israel be connected to Africa.
But if you read the beginning of Genesis,
No, I don't
it
believe
talks
it's
about how one of the rivers compasses the whole land of Ethiopia. You can only understand, or if you have any kind of common sense,
Yeah, it's
that
Nile.
has
It has
to be
the Nile
Africa.
River.
Right.
Nile
But
River.
I don't think it's West Africa. I don't think it's West
No,
Africa nor
it's
South
East.
Africa.
It has to be East and Central Africa,
I
because
really
even
believe
when
it's more east.
even when you read the accounts of slavery in some of the books about slavery, like Daughter of the Trade is a good book about slavery. They all tell you that the West Africans went into Central and East African and sold those people into slavery. They didn't sell their own. So like their books like Daughters of the Trade and other books like that, they talked about like how they sold, like it was actually teenagers that they sold into slavery, not so much grown adults. It was
I
actually
honestly
teenagers.
believe I believe you're right.
And children.
Hot sauce, and I
And children.
honestly believe it was Hamites, not Shemites.
Right.
that sold us. And
Right.
I believe when the scripture says when the time of the Gentiles,
Be fulfilled.
right, and also the Amorites. I believe the Amorites are the Africans. If you go back and you read the genealogy, the Amorites come from Ham. And just like they're on the continent now, selling out our people, selling out our resources, and
That's
doing
facts.
all that
That's
kind of
facts.
stuff,
That's facts.
they're going to be wiped out. They're going to be removed, and their time is just about up. If you notice how things are changing on the continent, those leaders are being removed. I believe that's the Most High doing it.
What about Dan? Y'all, we gotta have a deeper conversation.
What about
How
Dan?
did Dan have a? I'm gonna go right.
Yeah. Well, Dan was wiped out. Not wiped out. Excuse me. Dan is not part of the Revelations
Yeah,
12.
they're blotted out.
They're blotted out.
But
Yeah.
did Dan have a hand in the judgment, far as because they said that they? I think the prophecy deals with Dan being a part of the judgment. So is Dan? Do y'all think that Dan possibly had a hand in helping?
Yes.
the Hamites?
Like the Dahomey tribe is definitely
Dan.
Danites. Yeah, the Dahomey tribe is definitely Danites.
I do think that they did probably have a hand.
And the Dahomey tribe was
especially when you read some of Eldad Hadani, the Danite, what he said was some of his things. And I don't know if it's true or not, but some of the things that I was reading going down a rabbit hole, it was kind of crazy.
But the thing about it is this is like I don't like African leaders. They're too small in the whole thing of like the till the time of the what till the Gentiles be fulfilled. Right? I'm quoting that wrong. I know I'm quoting wrong.
No, another good one. Who are the Gentiles? Are they the northern tribe? Woo!
No, but hold on. No, where it says like, it says to the time of the Amorites be fulfilled, or does it say the?
I believe those two scriptures coincide.
Repeat those scriptures for me again,
Genesis 15:13, where it talks about to the time of the Amorites be fulfilled, and then Luke 21 when it talks about the time of the Gentiles.
Gentiles, right?
I believe those are two different nations, but they're collaborators. They're confederate.
Right.
Yes,
so
man,
I would say
Psalm 83 working together against us.
So Amorites would be Hamites, and the Gentiles would be Europeans, white Europeans.
But the thing is, that's why I say be very careful with the conversation of Africa, because you got to realize a lot of those leaders that are in place are part of that group that sold us. People forget about that.
Exactly.
Yes.
Oh no, that's facts. That's facts.
People forget.
Wait, so back to Hasso said. So wait, did you say that the white people were the?
I
Gentiles?
believe that the Amorites is what the brothers say are Africans or Hamites, and I believe that Gentiles are Europeans and Asians.
Mm.
That's a good conversation. I like conversation like this. Y'all got to help me keep going though, because y'all know me. I would get in the back cave and be gone for the next 2 months, and then come back and say, "Hey, y'all."
No, but
what y'all doing?
that's important because we're getting a lot of information that's saying that where's Israel. Some people say it's in Ethiopia. Some people say it's the land where they're at right now. I don't know. I particularly don't know, but I think Africa to me makes more sense than for it to be there. And then another thing is, it's just like okay, the whole thing about the 400 years, right? And talk about okay, well, slavery didn't start in 1619. Slavery most likely started in 1630 or maybe even as late as 1666.
Wait. No, actually, slavery started before then.
It's in the fifth.
No, I mean for the Americas, for
America.
America.
Oh, okay, for the Americas.
For America,
Slavery started even way before with the Spanish Inquisition started way before they touched ground.
I'm talking about America for USA.
Well, you got to look into
That's another thing. I wonder. I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry. I wonder.
Go ahead.
Okay, because it says 400 years, right?
Right.
And the scripture says that nation I will judge. Now, personally, I believe it's really been longer than 400 years. But if you refer to as that nation, we still have another 160, 130, 135 years to go for it to be from what is it?
1619.
What was it? 1776 was 200 years, right?
No.
Now we're at. I'm saying if you take it literally as a nation, they didn't become a nation.
Well, nation to 1776. I see what you're saying.
Actually, the beginning of the nation started. It actually did start in 1619 by the name of a man by the name of George Yardley.
Okay,
George Yardley was the very first what we consider to be the governor, and when they first decided to make Virginia a colony. If you know anything about the building and the foundation of what
that's
we
true.
consider
The 13 colonies did exist already. That's true.
The foundation of what we consider to be the Constitution, it started with this framework. Because right after they built that framework, what was considered to be the laws, because it was like July of 1619. In August, the first slave ship came, and even history tell you that was his defining moment to define what slavery meant, and that was how the beginning happened. Even though those slaves were later freed, that still started the foundation of what we consider to be the foundation of that nation, which is 1619.
But the system, I don't know if that counts because number one, that was kind of an accident, and number two, the system.
What was an accident?
Because they were supposed to.
About white line and being on deck.
Yeah, they weren't. They were being chased by pirates and stuff like that. They weren't.
But that was the hand of God. Realize that was the hand of the Most High. It's not an accident.
But systematically, when they started institutional chattel slavery, was somewhere between 2026 and 1666, from my research.
What?
When they started to actually ship people to the Americas.
No, that was the first that was shipped over into the Americas.
That wasn't intentional. When they start intentionally,
nothing was intentional.
No, because they were already the slave trade already existed in the Caribbean at that time.
But you got to realize he's talking about that nation. That nation. But we're not listen. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I believe when it says that nation, I believe it's definitely talking about the United States.
The United States nation, right? Exactly.
It's
right.
Because
the Caribbeans wasn't under the United States; they were under Spain and Portugal.
But you got to realize the foundation. This is the only country that their foundation. One of the many countries. Most of these empires, like the Babylonian, Syria, and all of them, their backbone and their foundation of becoming a thriving empire was due what? To Israel, being captivity, slavery. Every single one of those within those empires, when you think about Daniel, all of them had a connection to where from Babylon to Assyria to the Medes and the Persian, all of them had Israel in captivity, but they were a great nation.
Right.
Not to say other outskirts that there were other nations that probably had some form of captivity, but we're talking about great nations
Right.
that came
the
about.
number one guy, the number one
So-
spot. Right. It's always been the number one guy.
But when you look at how our nation was built, when you look at the history, and the only reason I'm saying this, and Hot Sauce, I'm gonna shut up and let you talk. Y'all better be glad I ain't working right now, and I can stay up a little bit later. But when y'all look at how can I put it? So when you look at how the United States had tried to start to formulate prior to slave trade, and I learned this when I was living in Washington, that y'all heard about the stories of when the colonizers came over here, they gave them free land, but they couldn't cultivate the land.
Right.
They were dying. The Native Americans had started actually messing these colonizers up because they started doing things like pushing or putting barricades where the good filtered water couldn't go over into where the colonizers were, and started giving them the water that was toxic, that had feces.
But
in it.
that was after. I don't mean to cut you off, but
No, that was before.
That was after the Europeans was breaking treaties with the indigenous. In other words, when they would give them gold, right?
That was
They would
before
steal the gold back, and
That was
then
before.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying they would give them gold, right? They would trade for gold. The Europeans would steal the gold back and play like they didn't know what was going on, like what happened when the indigenous found out they was really stealing the gold back. That's when the Europeans do what they normally do, go scorch earth. That's when they started killing off the indigenous and taking the land and taking the gold and all the resources. You understand?
I understand, but with most of that, before George Yardley instituted what he considered to be the Constitution, and before the slaves came, which in 1619, the Native Americans was fighting back by cutting off access to like clean water, not teaching the colonizer how to cultivate the land, because the land here was a little bit different.
No, I agree with you. I'm just, what I was saying is they started doing that after they saw that they was being mistreated. When they first, when the Europeans first came over there, the indigenous people was helping them, teaching them how to cultivate the land.
Yep. And do you
they
realize
was being friendly towards them until they found out how treacherous they was?
Yes, Eric, you're right. Let me shut up because you are right. They did not realize how treacherous they were. But do you realize, Eric, that when they started cutting off that stuff, and because there were colonizers that still was interacting with England, and what transpired was they were going to England to get their food supply and bringing it back to the U.S. because the people didn't know how to cultivate the land. So they had sent.
What they was bringing back when they was with that food? Smallpox and blankets and all kinds of
bring
stuff.
back many diseases with it.
Yes.
Now we're dealing with the colonizer right now. I want to stay on the colonizer. So what happened was the diplomats within those different, including I think George Yardley as well, they went back to England to get supplies. And they left their people here thinking that their people can manage U.S. land. These people were dying. They were cannibalizing. They were down. These people were so hungry, they were eating their leather belts and leather shoes. Y'all remember back in the day when they used to play the Three Stooges and they used to joke and they would cook the shoe?
Yes.
It stemmed back from that because they couldn't eat. They didn't have no food. And by the time the colonizer, and not colonizer, but some of the diplomats, including George Yardley, came back to the U.S. after they went to England to get supplies, they had been decimated because they didn't understand the land. They didn't have good water. People were dying off. So George Yardley automatically said, bing, we don't know how to do this. We don't know how to cultivate the land. And what we're going to do is, one, let's build a constitution, because they was fighting amongst each other within Virginia. And they built their first foundation, that constitution. A part of that constitution, they started bringing the first set of slaves over here to help them, teach them how to cultivate the land. Because when you look at the slaves, I think the majority of those slaves came from Angola. Those slaves understood how to cultivate land. So to combat against what the Native Americans was doing, they went when they got that slave ship full of Angolians, they brought them here. When they brought them here, they meant to put them in a form of slavery, but they ended up letting them go. But that's when the concept came to say we need Africans over here to help us.
That ship was Angolians. It was supposed to go to Portugal because of the storm.
But the pirates took the ship. The English pirates took the ship and took it over here to the Americas.
Right. But so this is my point, right? When actual chattel slavery was incorporated, was more likely in between the time frames of the late 1620s to the early 1660s. And then on top of that, we can see, right? Because if we were only supposed to be here for 400 years, obviously we're still here. So
what you're
it could have started
is the framework for chattel slavery came about when the Africans arrived here in 1619, even though they were initially considered to be indentured servitude. The framework was there.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm talking about when it was incorporated and applied.
Because actually, Massachusetts Massachusetts was the first colony to legalize and recognize slavery, and that was in
24.
That was in 16. What do you mean 24? It was in 1640.
I even sent you evidence on this before.
Let me show you the timeline right here. Since you want to argue with me, I have time. Y'all better be glad I don't have no job right now. Because if I was working right now, I would not be on this live. This is what I pulled up. Because I'm gonna be honest with everything that I'm saying. Y'all see what I'm doing? Let me let y'all not see, because there's some studying I'm doing for work.
So wait, I want to be clear. I mean, I'm getting tired, and that's why I'm not engaging as much. But wait, so are you saying, Hot Sauce, that chattel slavery was not implemented until what time frame?
Around the 1620s.
So when they came here in
for America.
Say it again.
For America.
For America. So when they came in 1619, what were they?
They were indentured servitude, and then on top of that, that was an accident. They were
indentured servitude in 1619, even though a lot of them came from being persecuted in the Spanish Inquisitions and the Portugal.
It was only like what 32 or 22 of them. It wasn't.
But that was the framework.
You said how many? Wait, started in the Caribbean first. It started in the Caribbean first.
Yes. It started in the 1500s. It started in the 1500s. But what I'm talking about is in America, where it was applied and instituted. The 1960s white line.
Here's the timeline.
So I guess I can't say anything.
Go ahead, Hot Sauce. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
That was an accident. That wasn't not
an accident when you know that the Most High had.
Yeah, I have an issue with the whole accident thing when we know that the curses was brought on to us by the Most High. And another thing I have an issue with is that when you bring somebody over here and change, and then we say, oh no, it wasn't slavery, it wasn't chattel slavery, it was just indentured servitude, it was against their will, and it all happened way before that time frame.
And they were free. They were also free. You can even see here. So in 1960 is where 1640. Sorry, 1640. In 1960, the White Lion was going on the path to Portugal.
1619.
And the pirates in 1619, and the pirates cut it off. That wasn't intentional.
That was intentional with the Most High. We're talking about prophecy. Let me shut up. Go ahead.
That's speculation. But what we know, according to the since we like using that word so much, that's speculation. But what we do know is, number one, that ship was designed to go to Portugal. Number two, the pirates cut that off. Number three, we don't see them shipping people from the slave coast again until about 15 to 20 years later, which I'm trying to pull up now.
So why would they call this the timeline of chattel slavery?
Well, I mean, obviously it's not fitting the Most High's timeline, or we would have been gone.
What? Okay, yeah, we're gonna
2019.
that's the subject. That's 400 years.
It's getting late for this. Maybe you should have this one next time because now it's getting extra late.
Yeah,
and I'm confused about this. I am really confused.
2019 would have been 400 years, right? According to 1619.
We can go to bed. Hot sauce.
Well, let's just say that's the recognized date. We can always all agree that that's the recognized date.
Sure, but that's not. I don't think that is the date given to us. Fine, but I don't think that's the date of.
And think about it. It really wouldn't. It really doesn't. Not to say it don't matter, but if you remember when we came out of the wilderness, right? For being for 400 years traveling because of disobedience, we didn't go right into Zion right after that. If you go back and you look and read it, it says on the 11th month, I forget of the 10th day, I forget, I have to go back and check, is when the Most High told Joshua, you've been in this wilderness long enough. Now it's time to move on. So it was 40 years plus 11 months, so on and so forth. Then we had to also navigate through other nations to get to the promised land or the area that the Most High promised to us. So it wasn't just for 40 years in the wilderness. It was 40 years plus until we got to our final destination.
Yeah, but when captivity.
I'm sleepy.
Okay.
I'm gonna give y'all 2 more minutes.
Fine.
Go ahead. Come on.
Well, I'm just gonna say this.
We could save it for captivity, we could shut it down. We could save it for part 2.
Well, I don't know. Let me just say this, and I'll be quiet. When we look at the Babylonian captivity, and when we look at the Persian captivity, stuff like that, the prophets knew when the time was up, because the Most High always said that you're going to be here for a certain amount of time. You're going to be there for a certain amount of time. The prophets always knew when it was time to leave.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about this to start. I think this is a good conversation. Y'all make me do this. Y'all know me. I will be in my room saying, okay, should I do a live? I want us to reconvene this conversation of the timeline of the 400 years. That's a good conversation. So
yeah, I want to go back and check. I said, because I hate to give false information, so I'm gonna make sure I go back and read it. Make sure I give it the right.
Everybody got a whole week. Let me see. What's today? Today is Monday.
Well, let me just say that I want to make sure it's on the record here that I'm not agreeing with Hassos when he say it's speculation as far as the Most High giving his decree on how he was going to ship his people to a land unknown and say that it's speculation. I just want that to be on the record.
No, I did not say that. I said that it's speculation that it started with the White Lion.
Okay.
Oh.
All right then, thanks. All right, I'm getting ready to go to bed. We're gonna do this on next week, Hot Sauce.
Thank you, sister.
Thank y'all. Any last words before I close out?
Good night, fellas.
Blessings to the family, blessings to the chat, blessings to the panel. I love you guys.
Shalom, Mishmaka.
So shalom, everyone, shalom. Goodbye.
Shalom, Mishmaka. Okay, I said it wrong, but hey, y'all should go to bed. And I have enjoyed myself, and we will see y'all on next week. I need my little love and Hot Sauce and Eric on here. And whoever else want to join, when was the start of the 400 years? Oh, that's a good one. All right, family, I thank y'all so much for joining me. I will see y'all on next week. I'm going to try hard. Everybody make me do it. Everybody pray that the Most High gives me the energy to do this. All right, y'all. Have a good one. Much love.
All different type of information every week. Let me speak. If you subscribe, we're going deep. Love Talk, Sister E. God's Work, Sister E. Charity, Sister E. Let's talk.